morning, everybody, from Pittsburgh, from Atlantic 10 Media Day. 50 years of this historic conference, and we are starting big with the team out of New York City. I'm John Fanta. He's Rob Dauster. We've got the Fordham Rams here. We've got new head coach of the Rams, Mike Magpayo, and we've got Dajour Reaves, or as America wants to know, you go by Day Reaves is here on a great day in Pittsburgh. Fellas, thanks for joining us. We're thrilled to be here in Pittsburgh. We're starting with the Big Apple, New York City, which I love. And I'm going to start with you, the player, because this man, we were so happy when we saw that he was getting the Fordham Rams head coaching job. You come to Fordham. Why Fordham, and why play for him?
Why Fordham? Just like I said last year, it's pretty close to home. So I'm from Syracuse, New York. So it's like 3 hours, 30 minutes at the top. And just having that support system, like family and friends being there to come support me, because I was in Colorado for 3 years. It was kind of hard to have that support system when things get rough. So just being able to have that support system, being close to home is a plus. And then playing for Coach Mike, he had similar guards, like my size. And they did real good things. So just seeing that is like, why not? Why go to a school that's got a 6'3" point guard and I'm not 6'3"? So that's why. And he's a winning coach. So he got a winning culture. He likes to win. And that's what I want to do.
Break down your game for us, Day. Give me a scouting report. What can Fordham Rams expect to see out of you this season?
They can expect me to score, defend, get my teammates involved, and just go out there each and every night to be a dog. I'm not gonna back down from nobody, no matter how tall they are.
Can you tell he's from New York?
And I love it.
Just not gonna back down from nobody. Just so every night out they're gonna see a dog and a great leader.
See, I don't back down from anybody when I'm on Arthur Avenue at an Italian restaurant. So I'm not gonna let somebody take the meal here. You're not backing down in Rose Hill. But let's talk about Fordham, Coach, and we'll go back to you. This place, we've seen some flashes of it get going. Rose Hill is one of the most fascinating atmospheres, one of the most historic atmospheres in all of college basketball. And then you walk off campus, you got Arthur Avenue, you got the zoo, you got New York City. There's a vibe there.
Yeah.
How much have you fallen in love with all of that? How would you describe it to those who have never been to Fordham?
Yeah, I mean, Day asked me, he's like, why did I choose Fordham last night? We were having dinner, and I said, I worked in New York City. I coached in New York City, and it was I love New York City. I started every single one of my 3 interviews with, I love New York City. That's what I told the president. It's my favorite city in the world. I met my wife there in 2013. Now, the Bronx is a little different. You know what I mean? There's a different vibe and culture, and Arthur Avenue is a huge part of it. My first 3 months, I was going to Arthur Avenue 3 times a day, putting out a bunch of pounds. But you know what? Before my wife, she just moved here a month ago. I was already been out there for 5 months. I'm like, you know what, hon, you're going to realize we're kind of famous there. I mean, I get stopped everywhere just as being the new head coach on campus, even on the subway if I'm wearing a Fordham Rams shirt. So there's an excitement. Rose Hill it's wild. I mean, it's hard to coach. It's hard to even hear each other in there. And I talk about it already, how it's got to be an advantage for us. So exciting times in the Bronx.
Your story of getting into coaching is a fascinating one to me, right? I don't know if you know this, Day, you were a CEO of a real estate company for a while, right? And this is a quote that I read. I found a feature on you, right, from 2016. This is how it started. When the retractable 92-inch flat screen TV would descend from the ceiling in his house, one of the 6 houses that he owned, Mike Magpayo was thinking life is good. And then you decided to take a $40,000 a year job working at, was it Columbia where you started?
Yeah. Wow, you really got all the details. Yeah. I shared that with him last night at dinner, that I had a Range Rover with 22-inch rims and my 92-inch projector screen. That was my TV.
So why coaching? Why was this the way that you had to go?
It's funny. I was coaching just high school basketball as kind of a side gig, hobby, and then Brad Stevens made back-to-back runs, and this whole story was that he started Eli Lilly Insurance, and that crazy idea started popping in my head, and I just started writing letters. And then, lucky enough, a crazy coach in New York City, Kyle Smith, he told me to meet him at a diner on 110th and Broadway, and he didn't show up. And I called him, was like, Coach, I'm supposed to meet you. And he said, find me on campus. It'll be your first test. And I found him on campus, and one thing led to another. And yeah, you know what? The part of the story is he turned me down first. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just lost my one chance to get into Division I. And then that guy took a D3 head job, and when he called me, I didn't ask any questions. It's anybody from Kyle Smith coaching tree. You don't get to. It's like you're either in or out. And so when he told me, that's why it was 40,000. I didn't even know. I just said yes. And
it didn't matter
here
where
we
it
are.
was. You just had to get your
At
foot in
that
the door.
point, now I wanted to get in, and then I was lucky because I sold my half of the company to my best friend and business partner, who continued to kill it. And he'd always say, "At least you're fulfilled, Mike. At least you're fulfilled." But that was all spent in trying to survive in New York City on that meager salary.
So we often talk with a first year coach about what we're going to see when his team gets on the floor. Mm-hmm. Let's have this guard tell us when you guys are in practice right now, what are the points of emphasis from coach and what is Fordham basketball going to look like this upcoming season?
What we're going to look like is just a bunch of dogs. Like, we're going to get aggressive on the defensive end. We're going to try to make you turn the ball over every possession if we can. We're going to try to speed you up the whole game, just doing things that I don't want to do. And that's the type of things we're going to bring to Rose Hill.
The other kid I wanted to ask you about is Christian Henry. What is? I see a smile on his face right away. What does he bring to the table? What makes him your guy?
He brings a lot of energy. He's real confident. He just do all the right things. As a younger guard. So he just a dog. Just a straight up dog. He's from Chicago.
Fordham is the Rams, right? Do we have to change who the mascot is?
Maybe we might have to.
But that's an interesting point that you bring up, because we talk with coaches all the time, and one of the things that they say is, okay, it's now a process, and you as a player could speak to this, for you to find who you're looking for in the midst of speed dating. So how did you go about it with your staff to find dogs?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? The dogs part, I'm excited because he keeps saying that today, and that is, he's got it right. We're going to have to turn people over, and like Day has a high steal rate, but we just kind of live by the numbers. I went for high offensive ratings, efficient players. Like Day has it was over 100 offensive rating. Iona and Northern Colorado, obviously averaged 17 points a game. The other thing is Day averaged 6 rebounds a game at 6 foot. Mm-hmm. And then Christian Henry, same thing, highly efficient player. So he's laughing because Christian Henry's got a personality. So you'll get to know him. But that's kind of what we look for. And then I try to get old right away. Just we have 6 grad transfers, 7 seniors. And so that's to give ourselves the best chance to see if we can build a winner year one and compete for a championship. We went for old and efficient.
I was told that you try to model your game after Allen Iverson. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Tell me why AI?
He's just a killer. Like, he just go out there each and every night, just trying to go out there and kill whoever's in front of him. Don't matter. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, don't matter. He's just going out there to only see red. And he's a small guard too. And I kind of model my game after him. I feel like we got the same playing style. Like, we could get in the paint. We're not scared to go against the Giants. We can shoot the ball. We can score at all 3 levels, and also get his teammates involved. So
when you make someone fall, are we going to get that iconic stepping over a defender moment when they're on the ground?
Nah, I ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, that was against my Lakers, so we ended up winning the series. But
Coach, as we talk a little bit more about your team as a whole, we've certainly talked about the backcourt, but when looking at your front court, you got a couple of guys with different international experience and whatnot. But between Jack Whitbourne, Zariq Nutter, I know that there are others. What can you tell us about the bigs for the Rams and what you've got there? Yeah,
that's kind of the question mark is our front court. But Zariq Nutter, he brings a problem because he's more of like a point guard at the forward position. And I talked to my old competitor, Eric Olin, the Big West Player of the Year, and I wanted Tate Jones was a very similar player, and we'll utilize him like that. And then all of our international guys, we've that's kind of been our secret sauce, is getting size from Australia. So we got a big 6'11", Jack Whitbourne that I brought from UC Riverside, and a kid that redshirted last year, Abbas Bodija, another 6'10" Australian. So they can shoot. They're going to be skilled, and hopefully they pose problems and stretching the floor, bringing those defenders out. So, but that'll be the question mark. We got a strong perimeter and then a younger front court that's going to have to bang shots and figure out how to match the physicality of the A-10.
So you have a number of players from overseas on your roster, and I know when you got the job, we had you on the field of 68. We talked about how you are the first Division I head coach of full Asian heritage, right? You have a player from Japan on your roster,
Yes.
Akira Jacobs. How cool is it as a guy that represents the Asian community, the Asian American community here, to be able to coach a player from another Asian American?
Oh, very cool. I went hard. You know, him and Day came on the visit. They were our first commits. Day was our first commit, but I went hard at Akira. I knew him he was at the NBA Academy in Australia, but just being a Japanese and played in the Olympics 2 years ago, I think the first Japanese player ever to play at Fordham. And the first one I've coached, you know, as even being president of the Asian Coaches Association. Trust me, I try to know and recruit every Asian player, and they're not saying yes, and finally got one to say yes. And another one, 6'10", can shoot it, lefty. So proud of him on the team. Great kid, great young man, and he really, to me, is kind of the ceiling of the team with Akira. If we can get him to grow and make a jump, average about 8 points a game in Hawaii, but see if he can make a jump this year, that'd be huge.
All right, 15 seconds of rapid fire to close. 3 artists on your pregame playlist.
NBA Youngboy, G Herbo, Lil Durk.
Your favorite spot around Fordham, New York City? Spot or two.
Well, we'll go Enzo's. Pretty standard spot on Arthur Avenue.
Who's the funniest guy on the team?
Marcus Green.
If you could have anybody play you in a movie or show, who would it be?
Man, that's always a question. I don't have one because, you know, Kyle's got Sean Penn and Golden's got like Ryan Reynolds. Coach Smith tries to give me like Manny Pacquiao or Joe Coy because there's not many Filipinos out there. Oh, I got it. I figured it out. The Crazy Rich Asians guy, the guy that was the actor in the Crazy Rich Asians.
Hold on. Kyle Smith tried to take Sean Penn.
Yeah.
You know what? If you put them side by side, they really look a lot alike. They really
We're going to do that.
We're going to do that. There you go.
The Rams in the
Connor,
building.
make that graphic,
Guys,
Connor.
Thank you so much for joining us. Good luck this year, Coach.
Thank
you, guys.
John.
There it is.
Thank you, Rob.
The Fordham Rams leading us off here at Atlantic 10 Media Day in Pittsburgh. It's great to have you with us. He's Rob Dauster. I'm John Fanta. We've got the Davidson Wildcats coming your way. Matt McKillop and big man Sean Logan up next. We take a look at the preseason poll that has come out from the conference in the last hour. And Rob, it is tight at the top. The VCU Rams, the reigning Atlantic 10 tournament champions with 342 points. We also don't talk about points in the conference preseason poll, but the reason why we're talking about points is because with 341 is Josh Schertz, Robbie Avila, and St. Louis. So that was how close it was at the top of this league.
And that's what this conference tends to be, right? It tends to be something where it's possession by possession, and whoever can win a lot of those close games down the stretch tend to be the teams that have the most success. And we are now joined by, look, I'm taking over your hosting gig.
Let's go.
We are now joined by the Davidson Wildcats head coach Matt McKillop, senior Sean Logan. Guys, what's going on? It's great to see you. Grab the mic. We are live. How we doing?
Doing great. Really excited to be up here with Sean, and 50th anniversary of the A-10. And this is always an awesome kickoff to get everybody feeling good about the season.
Because you get to see us, right?
Get to see you.
You're four of us.
I know Sean bumped into you in the hotel last night, and you guys helped him with the phone charger.
You bumped into
about
me.
midnight.
Yes. We helped him out.
No, thank you for doing that.
But anything for the Wildcats, anything for Sean Logan, who I think when we step inside a building for a media day, there's always excitement for the season. But you, sir, have got to be really excited because of what you've gone through. For those who don't know, you had an ACL injury.
Yep.
I know that's been a battle back. But we're all excited to see Sean Logan back on the floor. How has this process been, and how much are you just looking forward to first week in November?
It's been hard. It's been a grind. I couldn't be more excited to get back out there. Should be cleared pretty soon. But to be out there playing basketball again, I've been itching. I've been itching to compete, itching to get out there. I'm really excited.
You always have the most unique vantage point of something like this. What can you say about this young man, the way that he's battled through things?
It's been a unique perspective because you see the highs and the lows of it, and you're not breaking down film right now of Sean. So I'm reading his body language in practice and the one drill he can get in and how he responds when it doesn't go perfectly. And you see how badly he wishes he were back to the full health that he'll be in very soon. But he mentions the itch to get back on the court, and you see it. But we kind of joke about some things, but like we talked about using this 9 months to get better things beyond basketball and like little life habits. And I think Sean has attacked this so well in so many different ways that he's a better individual as a result of this, and he's going to be a better player as well.
Take me through what the rehab process is and what you kind of go through on a daily basis as you come back from this, because I don't think a lot of people at home realize just how much work goes into recovering from this. And I mean, your legs are probably still different strengths right now, right?
Yeah. So last I checked, it was about last I tested, it was about a 20% deficit. But that was about 2 months ago now. So I think I'm getting back to closer together. But on the basis, early on, it was about like hour and a half, 2 hours a day in the training room, doing rehab, doing BFR, which is really just torture. That's what it is. It's like it just cuts off your blood flow, but just a lot. On top of that, it's just now coming back to more agility stuff. Now also on the court, shooting, stationary stuff. Just a lot.
How long did you go without touching a ball?
Only like a week, really. Week and a half.
He's become like a really good juggler.
Yeah.
So he's finding
Really?
Again,
Yeah.
I mentioned life.
Yeah.
Like,
Great juggler now. Like whenever they used to warm up, I'll just take some balls and juggle. I'm almost at 4 balls. I'm almost there.
Wow.
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm almost there.
Now, when we talk about the Wildcats and the latest on this Davidson program, one of the things that I find is cool is you had a little mini camp with one Steph Curry over the
did
summer.
Steph go to Davidson?
Yeah.
He went there?
So how did that all come together? What was that like?
So Steph is not just an alum; he's an assistant GM, along with Matt Berman, one of our great alums and friends and donors. And when we were kind of going through this process of endowing some funds and this assistant GM role, the idea was thrown out by Steph. And we worked at it throughout the summer. And his trainer Brandon Payne lives not far from Davidson. And we see him from time to time, and he's a big part of Steph's development and Steph's daily process of improving as a player. And it worked out perfectly. You don't really realize like what being a superstar is in terms of the time that's needed everywhere. So I think when we did this camp, which was in the second week of July, Steph had just played in the Pro-Am in Tahoe. I can't remember the name of it, ACC or the AAC, whatever that golf tournament is. And I think like a week later he was with Under Armour in Asia. So He was incredible that he was able to take several days for us to go out there, have 3 different sessions with him, player development work, training, playing pickup, playing FIBA rules 3-on-3 with Brandon Payne, his trainer. And it was so cool to see how he wasn't just going through the motions. I mean, this meant something to him, and he wanted every player to walk away feeling like they had a relationship and feeling like they were better. And it speaks so much to Steph, but I think what Steph shared throughout those 2 days working in a gym with him was what the Davidson experience meant to him and why it was so special to him. And I think all of our guys heard that, and I think it's going to allow us to have a special year.
So how much does he get involved? Like you say, assistant GM, when people think about general manager, it's like the guy assigning, this budget goes here and we need to go with this player and we're targeting this. How much is he involved in the day-to-day? It's hard during the season, obviously.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's involved in the day-to-day. We have a great general manager, Austin Bunce. But hey, I think he follows us really closely now. He's always followed us, but I think being in this role, he's got a little more skin in the game. And, when we get a commitment, we'll send him the highlights and he'll respond and he'll know about the kid. And for example, Sam Brown is a transfer we have from Penn. And we bumped into Steph. He's like, "Hey, I hear you guys are going to get Sam Brown." We're like, "Yeah, we are." It's great that you heard that through your NBA circles with Sam's dad having been an NBA coach for a while. So it's making an impact.
Talk to me about some of the newcomers you got coming in. Who's looked good? Who's impressed you? Who do Davidson fans want to know about?
We got 7 new guys. They're all 8 new guys, including Big John walk-on from managing. They're all great. We got 3 freshmen,
Why don't you talk about the freshman? That'd be good.
Talk about the freshman. Ian Plateo. I don't know how to say his last name. I don't know how to say it.
It depends on who you're talking to. Ian Plateo from Barcelona.
Big 6'11", almost 7 foot. Could really pass the ball. 17 years old. Great kid. Reminds me a little bit of myself as a person. Like when I first got to college.
So he can't juggle yet, but in about 3 years he's going to be able to juggle.
If he puts in the work, I think so. I think he gets there. And then we got RJ Greer, really shoot the ball, really tenacious. Yeah, I like that word on defense.
You've also expanded your vocabulary last year.
No, I've been reading up. And then Devin Brown, he's a character. Got a not a great goatee, but athletic and
wow. That was. I hope he hears that. Man, not a great goatee.
Didn't know the direction this would go in.
Yeah,
but I love it.
Like his facial hair is better than.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. It's like you can't really even see it. It's like blonde. Yeah, great player. Really athletic. Yeah, I think the freshman will be really good.
So
really
great
good
player, bad goatee. One guy can't juggle. We're learning a lot about the Davidson Wildcats here, man.
That's right. You know what? A guy that I wanted to ask you a little bit about that stands out because of his all-conference accolades last year that you bring in is Sam Brown. What can Sam bring to the table? Not to mention the genes.
Yeah, such a cool recruitment because you speak with and you get to know his father, Brett Brown, who, as you guys all know, but he was on the bench when and as assistant coach to Greg Popovich for the dynasty of the San Antonio Spurs, and then was the coach of the process and in Philly. And Sam has been in the gym his whole life. He's been around some of the best players in the world and in basketball history for many of those moments. And that's how he plays. He plays like very experienced. He kind of has like an old man game. He goes at his own pace. Nothing speeds him up, but he can really shoot it. He can really score it. He has the ability to be a great playmaker, and he's just very physical and tough. He was tremendous in Ivy League play last year, averaging 19 points a game, and he's got that gamer about him. And we think
it's not an easy league to do that in.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
It's back to back.
It's back to back. And I mean, when you average 19 points, you're going to be the guy circled on everybody's scouting report. And I've talked to some other Ivy League coaches, and they said he's the only guy we changed our ball screen coverage against, and we had to do this and this to try to stop him because we felt we had a chance to win if we were able to slow him down. So when that's the mentality you're seeing on a game-to-game basis, it gives you you see things differently every single game, and it just expands your ability to read the game and play different ways. And we think he's going to be a pretty darn good player for us.
Sean, the biggest thing for me about your story that I really love is that, one, you've kind of encompassed the entire Matt McKillop cycle, right? Like you committed to Davidson when his dad was still coaching. You stayed here when the transition obviously happened, and now you're heading into your senior year, and you're still a Wildcat. It's not – I don't think it's that often that you see guys that stay at a program for 4 years now. So why are you still here, and what is it about Davidson that has made you want to make sure that this is going to be a lifetime thing for you?
Yeah, I love Davidson. Been here for so long now. Feels like forever. But yeah, it's really just TCC is what we live by, and just staying with that, trust with Matt. The culture we have as a team is just great. Every year I get new brothers, and I wouldn't want to pass it up for anything. So I couldn't imagine leaving.
One of the cool things this guy did, for those who don't know, is you're a New Jersey native.
Yes,
that's
sir.
That's actually home for both of us now. But you linked up with former Wildcat Billy Armstrong at Hoop Dreams Camp to work with kids this summer. So tell us a little bit more about that, because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really a spur of the moment thing. Like my sister was at the supermarket, I think. I was wearing a Davidson t-shirt, and Mrs. Armstrong came up to her and was like, "Oh, you go to Davidson?" And she was like, "No, my brother does. He plays there." And it's like, "Oh my God, I'm running a camp down the shore where I was, and you should tell him to stop by tomorrow." And so I stopped by for like an hour.
What town?
And a half.
Down the shore.
Long Beach Island.
Yeah.
Brant Beach. Yeah, it was great. It was nice. Talked to kids a little bit, played some one-on-one, little shooting competition. Got beat a couple times, but that's okay.
All of the kids beat you.
Yeah. It was like elementary school kids. Just, yeah.
Oh man,
That's
that's not.
It's okay.
I thought we added to your game this summer.
Yeah,
when you
no,
were-
can't win them all. It's all right.
That's all right. Coach, we talked a little bit about Sam Brown. You bring in Parker Friedrichsen as well from Wake Forest. In terms of what accompanies this guy between your small forward, your power forward positions, and what you were looking for, what can you tell us about when you went into the portal? How you tried to go about your process, and what did you bring in there when you look at what you've got?
We really felt we needed to have a great backcourt, and obviously everybody thinks that and wants that, but experience helps. I remember hearing midway through last year, someone just listening to one of the coaches in a press conference talking about you win in the postseason with experienced guards.
Mhm.
We guys just talking about this.
He talks about it
Okay.
basically every show we do.
And last year we had good guards, but they didn't have a lot of experience. And I believe that's something in addition to many other things that we have that I think are strengths this year on our entire roster in terms of our depth and talent. But when you talk about Parker, and he hasn't been able to show at the college level what he's capable of, and he will. And he's showing it daily in our gym. And Sam, just very experienced. They can both play on and off the ball. And we have a kid named Nick Koval who redshirted for us last year, and he is really good. I always say it every day. He's the toughest guy in the gym. Unbelievable work ethic. But I think if he did not redshirt last year, it would help us win games. And I'm excited about the depth at almost at every position that we have, and some of them are transfers. Sean mentioned our freshmen. Beyond the goatee that they apparently give Devin a hard time about. Devin was a state player of the year in Ohio, won a state championship. He reminds me a lot of Mike Jones. Mike Jones was a great player for us, graduated in 2022. And he reminds me a lot of Mike. RJ Greer, who, interestingly, his father is Ricardo Greer, who's an assistant at Dayton. RJ's a sniper. He is tenacious was the word Sean used. And then Ian Plateo, our freshman, was the MVP of the Under-18 World Championships, leading Spain to a gold medal. And the talent level of those three is I stated it to our fans recently at an event. Like it could end up being the most talented pound for pound freshman class, incoming freshman class that we've had since we've been going to the A10. So we add that to the improvements of our returning guys and the excitement of these transfers that we have. We've got a lot that's really making us leave the gym at night feeling exciting.
I think this era is really interesting for programs like yours that are going to be able to have access to maybe a higher level of freshman recruit than you've had in the past. Because RJ Greer was committed to NC State initially, right? And then,
the coaching change,
ACC program coaching change, and now he's at Davidson, right? So, and you just mentioned Devin Brown, State Player of the Year at Ohio. 15 years ago, are you getting the State Player of the Year at Ohio? He's probably ending up.
Jack Gibbs was. So
fair
that one time.
Yeah, maybe. That fair point. But
not often.
You're able to get with a lot of these top programs targeting juniors and seniors off of other programs' rosters. You're able to bring in guys that may be a little bit better that you can kind of develop and grow and build into players that maybe end up being a Sean Logan one day.
Yeah, and I wish I could tell you this was some master plan or like that's our strategy. It's been changing year by year. And, our goal is for everybody on their team this year to help us come back and make a run next year to the Final Four. That's what we want. But you get to a point where there's guys leaving or, you don't sign freshmen early and you have to do your best to bring in the most talented guys. And there was never a moment where we were like, let's wait and sign 6 guys in the spring and 4 of them be transfers.
Right.
But then you step into the gym in late June, early July, and we knocked it out of the park from a character standpoint for 7 newcomers who fit Davidson College, fit Davidson community, fit the way we play, fit the environment of our program. Now, can they do that when the bullets start flying? And can they do that when, whether it's an injury or a bad game or a tough loss or some noise from the outside, can they continue to be those guys that they've been from when they arrived in June? That's going to be the challenge, but we're facing it head on and we're going to attack that.
Matt, you brought up the point that the Atlantic 10 is celebrating 50 years. You bring a unique perspective because of your dad, and you play for your dad, and this place has been such a huge part of your life. Now as the coach, as a guy who played in this league, for those out there who are watching, who may not be able to share the same, they're definitely not going to be able to share the same perspective as you. How would you paint the picture of the Atlantic 10 and what this league means?
So I'm really glad you asked that. So I actually did not play in the Atlantic 10. I graduated in 06 when we were still in the Southern Conference. But my senior year, we played at home against UMass and we played against St. Joe's at home. Now, UMass obviously is no longer in the Atlantic 10. But I remember being a senior in college and we got A10 teams coming in our gym to play against us. And we always had a really competitive non-conference schedule, but to get home games against St. Joe's and Phil Martelli and maybe I can't remember who was the UMass coach, Bruiser Flint. That was special. And fast forward a few years and I'm an assistant coach as part of this. We essentially took a new job. We didn't move offices. We didn't move locations. We're now in a different league. And to have those teams come into our gym game after game, you kind of pinch yourself when you think back to what our old locker room used to look like and what the bus trips we would take to some of the Southern Conference schools. It's really special. And I'm very blessed and fortunate to be able to lead this program in this league.
Guys, good luck this year. I hope that the goatee gets a little bit better.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's watching.
Poor Devin.
And if he's not, if he's not, I think he's going to hear something.
He's really good. Let's make sure he's really good. He's a really good player.
Goatee.
Really good. Really good game. Not the best goatee, as you just said. Thank you, guys. Good luck to Davidson this year. Another competitive non-conference schedule for these guys as well. We appreciate that. Thanks, guys.
We're gonna fight our tails off.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
much.
There's the Davidson Wildcats joining us at Atlantic 10 Media Day. I think we're going to take a quick time out here. We are live from A10 Media Day. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with you from Pittsburgh. We're just getting started. We've only had 2 teams. We got a full day to get to. Don't go anywhere.
The college basketball season will begin right here on the Field of 68. At 8 a.m. on November 3rd, we will be tipping off the inaugural Field of 68 opening day marathon. 15 hours of nonstop basketball. It will begin in Rock Hill, presented by our friends at Visit York County. Plan your itinerary today at visityorkcounty.com. Winthrop will face off with Queens in the opener, followed by Bradley taking on St. Bonaventure. Then we head out to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, where it'll be presented by Sanford Sports, who is changing the way people play and making sports accessible and fun for all. Murray State gets Omaha at 1 p.m. Eastern time, with Drake taking on Northern Arizona in the second game in Sioux Falls. Then it's back to Rock Hill for a showdown between Furman and High Point, with Merrimack taking on South Dakota State in Sioux Falls in the nightcap. Tickets for all 6 games are on sale now at the links in the description below. Field of 68 opening day. The college basketball season.
The Rams are in the house at Atlantic 10 Men's Basketball Media Day, and we have the new head coach of the Rams. He is Phil Martelli Jr. I got to work with another guy named Phil this past year.
You bared that burden for all of us.
And we are also joined by Brandon Jennings, point guard for the Rams. And, guys, before we get to you, one of the things that I read about this young man is that your mother has not 1, 2 degrees from VCU?
Yeah, yes, sir. She graduated twice from VCU.
That is incredible. So, obviously, the place means a lot.
Yes.
To you. Tell us a little bit more about just what makes VCU so special to the Jennings family.
Yeah, my mom has definitely instilled that VCU culture and background into me. So her background, her knowledge of the place, the area. She actually went back and got some teaching license after I think she went. She might be still doing some schoolwork that I don't know about, but she's definitely still within the university, within the program. So yeah.
So that's why you stayed through the coaching change?
No. I mean, she didn't influence none of that for real. But
it was all this guy right here.
Yeah, for sure.
So what was it about the vision he had for the program that sold you on?
Really, it was the style of play and the fit that he thought I brought to the team, and the opportunity I had in front of me with the guys, and the opportunity we had to do as a team this year to run it back and make some noise in that tournament.
Let's talk to the new head coach of the Rams. Coach, I'm so excited when you got this opportunity, and obviously it's such a small world, our college basketball world, because your AD, Ed, and you spent time in Niagara in the early 2000s. When this becomes reality for you, and we all know when somebody takes a job, it's a total whirlwind. Was there any point where you did take a step back in the summer, or once you had these guys going, or maybe it's now where you do take a moment and say, VCU basketball, the rich tradition of this program, hey, making a Final Four, from the first four to the Final Four, I am the coach at VCU?
Honestly, John, it's almost every day. When I walk into that BDC, our practice facility, and you see that history, you feel that history, you have the former players around. We had an open practice for season ticket holders on the Saturday of Labor Day weekend at 11 a.m. And you have 400 or 500 people in that building. Like, that doesn't happen, right? That doesn't happen. Even these rich basketball places, that doesn't happen. You know, we had an event, a tip-off event last Monday at dinner, and you have this huge packed, bowling alley restaurant, and you see all these people. Like, so for me, it's really, honestly, every day I'm very cognizant of that what this means, what VCU means, and take that responsibility, do not take it lightly at all, but very appreciative of the opportunity.
Yeah, I've told you this before, but I think it's very easy to look at your last name and assume that this guy got his inroads because of who his dad is. And then you look at your resume, and respectfully speaking here, it's not like you were coaching at Kentucky and then UConn and then Kansas and then you got a head coaching job. You grinded your way up at a bunch of mid-majors. You got your first gig because the head coach lost his job in like September, and you turned that into your program, and you won big a couple years, and you landed the VCU job out of it. I think it's really impressive how you've been able to grow that way, coming from basically the bottom of Division I.
Yep. Yeah, and it's, you never know when you're going to get rewarded, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I talk to these guys about something, like, you just do the work. And for me, I always looked around and I felt like there was a lot of guys that were trying to get the respect of the media or the outside, but it was like they didn't really have the respect in that staff or in that building. Mm-hmm. I always focused on trying to get the respect of the people that I was working with closely every single day. And because of that, you get an opportunity to become the head coach at Bryant, and what that meant there. And I am forever grateful to Bill Smith, to President Ross Cattell there, President Ron Makeley before him, like the people that allowed me to have that opportunity. And then to go back to, working with Ed at Niagara, like, it was just about getting the respect of those people, the other coaches on the coaching staff, the other coaches in the athletic department, the athletic director, that whole athletic department staff. And I didn't know, like, it wasn't like, okay, I'm going to show Ed that I'm, can work and what I can do at Niagara because he's going to be, no, it was just, we were there. We had fun. We won a lot. We handled our business. Him and I stayed really, really close. He was a very close confidant. Anytime something came up, career advice, he was one of the first calls. And so to me, it's just that. It's the testament of, like, just keep doing the job. And eventually you can get through, to the other side. And that's how I feel. I mean, people ask me all the time about VCU. I'm like, I dreamt big. Like, I had big dreams in this. I don't know if I ever dreamt this big that it would be VCU. Now, as he takes over this job and you stay with the Rams, his Bryant team's last year 6th in the country in tempo. The year prior to that, 3rd in the country in tempo. So immediately I think to myself, all right, I mean, I certainly couldn't handle that. You certainly can. What's the conditioning like for the Rams? How much are you up and down? How much fun is that too?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a part of our preparation for this year, just getting everybody conditioned throughout the whole month of August. We had basic condition every day. We still do conditioning, but just preparing our body and just trying to get ourselves mentally for those long games.
Do you run? You?
Myself?
Yeah.
I try to. I hurt my hip a couple weeks ago. It's the first time I got in treatment, I think, since I was a player. I got dry needling. So now I can tell these guys what a tough guy I am. But
Can you still hoop?
I'll shoot free throws. I'm worried about my legs. Otherwise, I don't want to.
Knockdown shooter.
Free throw
But
shooter.
if you went up against him, you would find a way.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know about that.
Let's talk about a little bit more about the guard play for this team. Obviously, he plays a huge role, but he's the one here for the Rams. But you've got a couple other guys, a guy like Jadrian Tracy, a guy like Tyrell Ward. What can you tell us about the assemblance of guards that you've got, and how much you think there's upside there to what you've got cooking?
Yeah, I mean, we have overall, doesn't matter, guards, big, like we just have a good competitive group. And, I'm still, there's a lot of coaches that will say this, right, in end of September, like, well, we're still competing for spots. And, I will say, like, there's still a very wide open competition there. Now you start getting into these days and there are separators, right? Like who's picking things up and you're starting to add things and all that. But in terms of the competitiveness of the group, the connectivity of the group, I've been really, really pleased to go through June and July with them, half of August, now all of September, and see where they are. I am very pleased with that. But there's a lot of guys, and on any given day, you walk in that gym and you're like, wow, like it's Brandon Jennings, it's this guy, it's that guy, and it's hard to just single out individual guys, and say, okay, well, this guy or that guy, but to me, it's the whole group together, that competitive level, their desire to win, their willingness. And we have people walk to that gym and sit and watch a workout in July, and they're like, you got guys diving on the floor in July. And that's really right. Like that's how it was. Like, and probably starts with him, but like you got guys laying out for a ball, 4-on-4 drill that you're like, all right, like, yeah, we're talking about competing, but the reality is like, laying out in July, like I don't know if people are doing that.
No,
so,
people are laying out at the beach.
But it's not just the thing that I love about what you just said there is that you're bringing in guys from the SEC that are doing this. You're bringing in guys from the Big Ten that are doing this. It's not like it's someone that's coming up from a smaller program trying to earn their spot.
Yeah.
These are big. You got a guy coming in from UConn in Ahmad Noel. I think the transfer haul that you have is something that was really, really impressive to me. If you give credit to Ryan Daly at all for any of that, we're cutting off this interview. By the way.
You can't give him any credit. He gives himself he already gives himself all the credit. So no, well, but the reality is it started with these guys. It started with Brandon, Terrence, Michael, Firm, and Obi. Those 5 guys that came back. It started with them. And wherever this takes us, whatever success looks like for this group and for this program, in my tenure, it will start with the work these guys. I mean, there were days we had 3 guys on the court for a workout in the spring, right? Before everybody was there. And it was just me and maybe one other coach, at the time. But the work that these guys put in really laid that foundation, right? Like, let us push them in the spring when we first got there, started to figure it out. And it was all new to them, right? They're looking around going like, well, why are we working on this? And now they see why, or why are we doing this? And they're like, okay, now we see why, and started to feel the success of their own games and the growth of their own games. So, to me, it's just that it started with these guys. We did do a good job bringing, but I think from the outside, people look at the talent level. Oh, well, this guy averaged this at this place, and that's great. But to us, it was the people. Like, are we bringing in the right people? And that's where you can get that competitiveness and that connection, because these guys are looking, right? Like, they're nervous. Like, okay, well, I'm coming back, but then you're bringing in this guy or that guy, and yes, sometimes it has to do with, all right, well, I play that position, he plays that position. I'm a guard and he's a guard. But I also think because they're such good people, like they wanted to make sure that, hey, the right types of people are coming in this locker room. And I do believe, and I feel, and he could probably speak better, like I think we have that. I think we do have a really good group of people, staff and players included.
I think it's really interesting that you said that, because one of the things that I noticed when I was looking at the list of attendees for who was the players coming to media day was, I was like, all right, is it going to be Tyrell? Is it going to be Ahmad? Is it going to be Jadrian? And you got Brandon Jennings, the returning. I think that says a lot about what you are prioritizing when it comes to building the culture and building that connectivity and the continuity.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody that represents VCU better than Brandon Jennings, right? Like Richmond kid, homegrown, right? and
yes, sir.
His intensity, the all I've ever seen from him is care about winning, right? He's never looked at me and gone like, well, I didn't get that shot. It's always just like, okay, I didn't get that shot, but he's sprinting back. I mean, we had a play 2 weeks ago where he ends up like on the baseline on the ground, sprints down and gets a back tap to win a segment, right? Again, it's September. It's not, it's not March in this arena, trying to go win an A-10 tournament. It's a September black versus gold, whatever drill. So to me, like, why would you not want that represented, right? Somebody that's homegrown, that's lived VCU. You talked about his family lineage at VCU. That is a big deal, and has been a connector since he got to campus, right? Like, his mom is the connector, right? Like, she's the one throwing the party at the house, and she has the team over in July for.
She's probably the one person who represents VCU better than you.
She absolutely does.
What's she cooking at these parties?
She's having food catered. She's putting in her own dishes too. She's doing everything. She's just trying to have a nice setup.
Can we get an invite?
Yeah. Come on.
It was just his birthday. You just had what do you have, a hibachi? They brought in the hibachi thing. I didn't get that invite. Now we're in practice. I didn't get that invite. I guess I was too mean in practice that day.
Really?
It was a little family thing.
Oh, okay.
I got the summer invite though. I was there over the summer.
Before we let you go, I talked a little bit about it earlier, but I got to work with your dad this past year, and I will say this, and I haven't even said this to your dad, but becoming a dad in May, you see different examples of dads and what they do for their sons. And one of the coolest things that because I would do a lot of Wednesday games with Coach Martelli, with his dad, is typically at some point during the shoot around or in between, he would talk with you. And the thing that always stood out to me was, at least in those conversations from what I heard, because I was sitting next to him and he was talking about a million different things, but he was being a father. He was not telling you what to do. He was not saying this, that, or the third. And I just thought, as I'm listening, I'm like, that's what a dad is. That's what a dad is. He's his biggest fan, and he's here to help if I'm sure if you ask for it. But how would you describe that?
No, that's the best way to describe it. He was always dad first. It was never. And again, even today, like our conversations, even our basketball conversations, are never X's and O's related. It's always people related, right? It's always about people and how to help people, uplift people. Make a difference for people. And, that was always the thing that was burned into us. And people ask all the time, like, oh, what was it like growing up, with your dad being Phil Martelli and the whole deal? And I'm like, honestly, like the things for me are every time I meet somebody, they get that smile on their face and then they have a story, right? Because, you don't get away with him, being around him without like some story. And they tell you some story about how he helped them or something he did for them or somebody they know. And then they always ask about like, well, was it hard? Things he missed. And I don't remember the things he missed. I remember the things he was there for. Because that presence always was there, right? Like if he could be there, I go back to being 10 or 11 years old and he's coaching me and Jimmy in Lanark Hills Little League. Like I think about that all the time.
I wish we had footage of that.
There would be, his thing was always never give the team more than 3 outs. I still remember that. Never give the team more than 3 outs. Never give them more than 3 outs. Don't make errors. Just make sure you get them 3 outs. So, it's probably the same things he's still yelling at the TV. Going crazy. But no, it's been a real blessing to have him as my father, regardless of what he did. He could have been anything, and really blessed that way. And I know he loved working with you. You guys seemed like peas in a pod. That was like it was like the perfect. And some of those games were not the easiest games to watch either. And you guys had. I'm sitting there watching just so I can figure out what insane statement he's going to make. Your follow up and be dying on the couch laughing. It's the best comedy show since Saturday Night Live. I think
it was pretty fun.
You know what tomorrow is, right?
October 1st.
Do you know what tomorrow is?
October 1st.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Oh, Red October.
Red October.
Come on, man.
You know about that yet, Brandon?
He doesn't know about Red October.
You'll find out. You want to see your coach in a good way. Make sure you get next to him for a Phillies game in playoff baseball.
You feel good
I feel good.
Yeah, we're good.
about the Phillies?
Oh yeah, about the Phillies, I do. Trey Turner's back. I wish our pitching. We got great pitching, but
Here's the question.
I want to be at the inter squad scrimmage, but we got practice. The only thing that takes precedence for me right now is VCU basketball. If we didn't have practice tomorrow, maybe I'd find my way over to the inter squad scrimmage.
Would you
tomorrow.
sacrifice Ryan Daly's right shoulder for Zach Wheeler to be back?
Oh, I mean that's you could have stopped at Ryan Daly. You didn't have to go to the right
Forget
shoulder.
the right shoulder. That was too kind.
By the way, he's definitely in the office watching this, and he's so happy that he's been mentioned.
Oh
multiple
yeah,
times.
that's enough. That was
That's
too
it.
too
That's
too
it.
many.
That's it.
Rams, good luck this year.
Thanks,
Thank you
guys.
for the
Appreciate
time.
you.
Thank you.
There they
Appreciate you
are.
guys.
There is VCU. We roll along here from Pittsburgh, 50 years of the Atlantic 10. And I'll tell you what, the VCU Rams, they are going to be right in the equation, in the mix, the top of this league. We talked a little bit about it earlier, Rob, but VCU is the preseason favorite in the coaches poll. St. Louis comes in at 2, and then Coach Grant and the Dayton Flyers at 3. I think the dark horse of this league is the team coming in at 4th, potentially, is my humble opinion.
Yeah, GW is going to be really good this year. They got talent, especially if they can finally stay healthy and hopefully hopefully there's a story that we'll talk a little bit about that when GW comes on. This is a team right here, 8th. St. Bonaventure. You're telling me that you're going to put Mark Schmidt at 8th in a preseason poll?
It's not going to end that way.
He's got Desante Bowen back. All I'm saying is that dude knows how to coach. That dude knows how to win. And, putting him at 8th, I think that's going to be one of those ones. You're going to see that a lot just around the St. Bonaventure locker room is my guess.
Yeah, I think you will. And we're going to talk with Bowen in a little bit, Desante Bowen, an all-conference preseason honoree. Let's look at those different honorees. Javon Bennett, yes, he is still at Dayton, and we love to see that. He's on the all-conference first
He'll
team.
be joining us today.
With George Mason's Brayton O'Connor, Tony Skinn coming off of a sensational season in which they were a game away from the NCAA tournament. Rafael Castro at George Washington, a skilled big man. He came over from Providence, has found a home there. Miles Rubin at Loyola Chicago. He will join us in a little bit. And then you got Deuce Jones II, the sophomore guard at St. Joe's. We'll get to that in a moment. And then Robbie Avila of St. Louis. Yes, Rob, it is a beautiful thing that Robbie Avila and Josh Schertz are still cooking.
back,
Now
baby.
they're doing it in the Atlantic 10. Huge year for the Pelicans.
Yeah, last year everyone had them as like a borderline top 25 kind of a team. As one of I think were they picked to win it last year? Yeah. I think they were picked to win it last year. If not, it might have been just my pick. But they had the best top 3 in the league, and then their depth just completely vanished throughout the year. They didn't have enough bodies, and you just saw them kind of wear down throughout the season. As we get Archie Miller's on his way.
Who's he?
Wait, Archie?
Has he worked for you?
I don't know. Has he?
The Rams are in the house.
He's
Brody.
He is very excited because he's back here in Pittsburgh right now. So I don't
that's
think
right.
anyone's
Yeah.
happier to be here right now, to be in an arena where there's yellow and black all over the place. Well, noted Cleveland fan John Fanta is
That's
going
right.
to be sitting right next to him. Come on, guys, sit
Yeah,
down.
he's got a pep in his step. He's got a pep in his
Whatever
step
you want to
wherever.
do, Coach. It's your world. We're just
Wherever.
living it.
I don't know if you
Jonah,
want to
Jonah,
continue
we
to sit
all
next
live.
to us.
Mics are hot, so if you got something crazy to say.
Here we go. Archie Miller, Jonah Hinton, and Rhode Island. Rhodey is in the house. Coach, you are right back near home for you in the great city of Pittsburgh. Welcome to A10 Media Day.
I know it's good to be here. Flying into Pittsburgh brings back a lot of memories. This is a great venue, not just because the Pens play here, but it is a great venue. The NCAA tournament's hosted here. We've had an A10 tournament here in 17 that I was a part of. So really good for the fans. Just being able to get down here, it's a little bit more easy than some. So we're excited to be here.
It's really cool when you I haven't driven into Pittsburgh in a long time. When you come through the tunnel and you're driving in from the airport, and it's just dark, and then all of a sudden you come out of this tunnel and it opens up and you're driving onto this bridge and you see the skyline of Pittsburgh over here. It is awesome. It is gorgeous. And if you look off to your left, what do you see over there?
You see where the Pittsburgh Steelers do their damage.
It'll always be Heinz Field.
Especially in 2 weeks, I believe.
Yeah, in 2 weeks. Yeah, a little over. I mean, if the Pittsburgh Steelers show up in 2 weeks, they'll be off by a couple of days, but a little less than 2 weeks. They have the Cleveland Browns, and I have. This is a true story. I have watched the Browns win in Pittsburgh a total of one regular season game, one
in your lifetime.
In my lifetime, and I'm 30, Jonah, and I'm a Browns fan. I'm from Cleveland. He obviously is a Steeler fan.
Bears.
You're the Bears.
Yeah.
Now they found a way to win on Sunday.
Yeah.
They found a way to win. They did. Let's turn to basketball because my football conversation will not go well.
Trevor just yelled in my ear, "Yes, sir," when he started talking about the
Oh,
Bears.
yeah, good win. Let's talk some basketball. So I think you'll be impressed with this, even though you already know it. I was reading up a little bit on you because for those who don't know, you came over from JUCO college level at Panola.
Yeah.
And in a feature piece, you said JUCO is a lot different from college because you have a lot of different types of personalities. A lot of people at JUCO are more expressive, so you learn the importance of delivery. You understand to think about how you say certain things. Being in that environment helped me grow as a player and as a person.
Yes, sir.
Clearly, Coach is nodding because he sees it as well. How much do you feel like everything's been leading now for you? You've learned so much to this moment with Rhode Island this upcoming season to be that type of person on this team.
Yeah. I would say early on in my career, I actually started out at a Division II and redshirted there, and I went from, being that freshman, not really knowing what to expect, learning from guys, taking a year off from playing, but still, working out with those guys and just seeing what it takes. I feel like I started out at a great program. And then the JUCO part, I learned how to become a leader there. Again, how to talk to people, certain people take things differently because everybody's coming from different backgrounds. And especially with the transfer portal in today's age, you got a lot of different personalities and people who, react to certain things differently. So this year, I feel like we got a good group. The characteristics that we have are quite similar. So we were able to get connected fairly fast. And I'm excited.
It's interesting. You said you started at a Division II program. You started at Northwest Missouri State for what people don't realize. They've won like 6 of the last 10 national championships.
Yeah.
Ben McCollum was your coach. Bennett Schertz was your teammate on that team. Yeah, it wasn't just a Division II school.
Yeah.
That's like saying the Pittsburgh Steelers are just a football team, right?
This is not going well for me.
It's not.
Continue.
It's not. No, just what did you take away from kind of that experience? I mean, redshirting in this day and age is not something that's all that common.
Mm-hmm. Learning how to put the team first. I would say out of high school, you're the man. Most of the time when you go Division I, if you were in high school, you were most likely the guy on your team. And, figuring out, what team is all about. It's not necessarily, about what you want, what's best for you, but, how can we get it done on a nightly basis to get a win? And taking that year back and just seeing what it takes to get a win and, how invested the team has to be and how you have to put the team first is something that I really learned from my freshman year.
Yeah. Archie, I saw a quote from you earlier this year where you said that this was the most enjoyable spring and summer that we've had in this new world of college basketball. 100%. And after talking with him for just 5 minutes, I can kind of see why you're saying that.
100%. Every day upon, building the roster until the countdown, until we all got together for the first time, I knew very quickly because within about 5 to 6 days, groups of people on an hourly basis would be through, whether it was the facility, the gym, at night working out together, in the office during the mornings. You could tell very early on that like what we set out to do in terms of the character level of the guys, the appreciation of the guys that we brought in terms of what they really wanted to be about. It was like, wow, like boom. And then I think once we started to work out, once we started to, get into the routine, and then we started to actually become more involved as a team, it was exciting to be around a group that really, a month together was just, in a groove of like, what's next? All right, tomorrow morning, okay, we'll be there, we're ready. And it just was a very smooth transition to be able to put that together. And I think just sitting here with Jonah, you get it. We have about 6 or 7 guys with great stories. We have about 6 or 7 or 8 guys that have like really forged their path, so to speak, a hard way. And, we have a mature group. We have a group that quite frankly has been very easy to coach.
You know, the guy that comes to mind with that, and there are a number of guys that we'll get to in a moment, but I look at a guy like Tyler Cochran,
Yeah.
who has certainly scored the ball over 1,200 career points, close to 200 assists, 600 rebounds, but he was a Matco Defensive Player of the Year as well. How excited are you to have him now on your team, and what do you see with him?
Well, Tyler has had a really unique sort of college career, and he's gotten better at every stage. He's played for terrific coaches. The year that you're talking about on that Toledo team, they were fantastic. He and his teammates, who all went at a lot of different spots and have hit it big in terms of college basketball. But he was very unique. If you talk to coaches that are in the league with him, or you talk to coaches that like would say, you know, what kind of position, they don't really have an answer for him. They don't know, kind of like, they just know he's very, very unique. And what we found out was he can disrupt games. He has a very instinctive way of getting deflections. He gets his hands on a lot of basketballs, like he's just around that. The second thing that really comes to, my mind when you think about him is it's really not the scoring, it's the playmaking. Not only can he play defense, create some problems, but as a 225-pound perimeter player, you got to decide who you want on him, and he can really pass. He does a really good job. So he's coming off an injury, and not playing a year ago, it will take him time. Coming back from the surgery that he had and getting back into shape will take time, but he's ready to go.
Where is he in that process now?
All summer long was being smart in terms of not doing too much. I didn't want to ramp him up, and we didn't want to ramp him up where at the end of the day, he just got back into the same groove, having to take time off. So the big thing this summer for him in an 8-week period of time was going from 253 to 225.
Wow.
So that was a huge deal. He's not going to
Can you put me on that program?
You got to come and, you got to come and
like
see
to
us.
come out to Rhode Island as
But
well.
here's the thing I'll tell you, and anybody who's done that has to understand, like, you have to do that. They can get you up in the morning and we can work out, but like your discipline off the floor plays a big role in it. Your commitment level to being able to stay with it. So he got to the level where we felt like, okay, we finally got him back in body wise, where he's going to be ready to go basketball wise to start. Now he's ready to start practice as a full go, which he hasn't been in a long time, but he's unique.
So after I got off my flight at about 10:30 last night, I got to the hotel. I had an IPA and a bag of chips. You're saying that's probably not what I should be doing if I want to go from 253 to 225?
That's probably the first step. is getting that corrected.
Oh man, Jonah, when you think about not just Tyler, but some of the other pieces on this team, versatility is the word that stands out. When Coach is talking about the makeup of this team, how would you reflect on the way that this group vibes, the way that this group gels?
Yeah, I would just say our theme and the team, the makeup of our team is just getting it done. We got a lot of guys where you can't really just put them in the one, like they're just this position or they're just this. Like, we got a lot of guys that can play different positions, and at the end of the day, we just got to get the job done, and that's what I feel like our guys. That's the mentality that we have.
I really like the backcourt and the perimeter that you put together. You mentioned Jonah. You got R.J. Johnson coming in, Miles Corey coming in as well. Was that something that you specifically targeted? It seems like old veteran guards is kind of the game plan that you had.
Well, Sebastian Thomas, who was all conference for us last year, handled the ball 95% of the time. And I felt like ball handling and decision-making in general, we just don't have enough of from an offensive perspective. That's why when we went out to obviously, look towards replacing Sebastian's role and whatnot, we needed more than one. If R.J. Johnson, Miles Corey, and Jonah are on the floor together, there's more ball handling, there's more IQ, there's more skill.
It's not really a point guard because you got three of them.
Yeah, right. So and I think we also have the ability level to be maybe even bigger, where you're playing Alex Crawford at the 3 and you have Mo Salle at the 4. You could be bigger as well, but always the case in your mind. Our team is old with a lot of experience and age old too. Like we have men, we have grown men, we have mature guys, Miles and RJ both play the position differently. RJ's a very, very quintessential true quarterback. Miles has a little bit more of that explosiveness that you see, which you don't see from, smaller guys, but he's very, very explosive in terms of his ability level as an athlete. But we have more ball handling. We have more decision making. And I think Jonah would probably be the first to say we have a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things rather than just be, sort of stationary, or he's a 2, he's a 3. We have combinations where at times we could be really big, we could be small. But I think the one thing that's unique is I think everybody can handle a dribble, pass, and shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got a schedule.
Yes.
I know it's something you believe in. You're going to go to Yale. We
Yep.
always know how the Bulldogs are. You're going to play in the ESPN Events Invitational.
Yep.
You're going to take that trip to Providence. You're going to take on McNeese and Kingston as well. Even Northeastern. It's not. I mean, they're always well coached. You always know what you're getting into there. The point is, I know you believe in it, but when you assemble things in this slate, going down to Orlando at one point, I don't know if you'll get a little Disney time, hopefully with wins, with wins, maybe that'll happen. But what went into that?
Building the schedule, we knew we'd be on the road with 2 true road games against NCAA tournament type teams. Yale's the best of the best. We've played, this will be the 3rd year in a row we've played them at their place this year. The annual Ocean State rivalry game with Providence, doesn't really matter what's going on that day. That's a big deal, right? So, and playing over there this year. So we knew we'd have that. Getting back into a groove with the MTE Orlando. Mm-hmm. The field is like really sneaky underrated, like powerful. If you look at the teams in that field of that tournament, all of them are going to have a chance to either be at the top of their league, postseason, and NCAA berth. You'll see a bunch of teams out of that field. We play Towson to open, and that's going to be the CAA maybe favorite, right?
Yeah.
And last year they had a fantastic year. They bring their whole team back. McNeese in Rhode Island. Huge game. They obviously played in the NCAA tournament last year. They'll switch. Coach Armstrong will do a great job as he comes in. They got a great roster. But we need to beef that up. We need to be ready to go when we get into conference play. League play's tough. On the road's tough. So we'll be battle tested.
The most impressive part about that schedule is that you were actually able to understand what Pat Scarry was saying when you got on the phone with him to talk about scheduling a game.
Well,
he's a New Englander, man. He's a great guy. He's done a fantastic job. And, I think that them being able to retain what they've retained, they're going to have a good season.
Fellas, we appreciate the time. Good luck to Rhodey this year.
Always good to see you guys.
Arch, very good to see you.
And good luck with you're going to be busy this year, I know. So good luck with everything.
I appreciate
going.
that.
Rob, as usual, it's always good to see you. And to be honest with you, I can't say that I've ever been more refreshed to be on the field of 68 without the other guy here.
Who's that? So, I think he's off.
Did you
he's
fire
off today vacation.
We fired him. He's gone. He's gone. Yeah, no, he decided he doesn't become north of the Mason-Dixon. Once he turns 65, he doesn't want to be anywhere when it's cold.
He still owes you a gift card or two for all the wisdom that you dropped.
He took good care of me
on this network. Thank you, fellas.
Appreciate you guys, man.
Appreciate you guys.
Good luck. Jonah Hinton, star chess player as well. Yes, he is.
This guy here is a jack of all trades.
He's a jack of all trades. Rhodey looks like a real force in the Atlantic 10 that can take that next step, and we look forward to watching them. We're going to go from Rhode Island, and we're going to welcome in St. Louis. Josh Schertz and Robbie Avila are somewhere in the wings here.
Just saw him somewhere. There's Robbie.
Avila and Schertz. And I'll tell you what, when we talk about St. Louis, Robbie has said last year was a bit of a learning curve for him. He had to adjust his style as a different type of league. You're coming into St. Louis, and I think now what we're going to see is this St. Louis team. Okay, they had like a recalibration year, if you will. Now, can he cut down on the turnovers? Now, can he take his game to the next level? But the other thing is depth. St. Louis, they've got 10 new players, 10 of them. They were all on campus during the summer. They've tracked more than 2,000 possessions and over 100 hours of practice in the preseason. One guy they brought in was Brady Dunlap, who's a sharpshooter from St. John's. They've got Amari McCautry coming in. They've got Trey Green from Xavier, Deion Brown from Boston College.
Robbie,
let's welcome in.
Robbie Avila, come sit down. Josh
Robbie
Schertz.
Avila is here, and we want to pronounce that right because certain people have messed that up. But St. Louis's SID, Fantastic. Brian does a great job. He sends it over, and he made sure to take care of you, just like you make sure to take care of Coach. Fellas, it's great to see you.
Appreciate you guys having us on. Always good to be back.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So as we look to this year, we were just talking about it because you bring in 10 new players, everybody on campus this summer, but you're a guy who's back and just reading up on you. I know you've got areas of focus this year. You felt like last year there were learning moments for you that now you take into this season. What were those, the learning curve, learning moments coming into St. Louis that now you say, all right, now I know how to go about this league. Now I know how we can win this league.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the first and foremost thing is, more athleticism from, 1 through 5. I think just the athleticism of, the bigs, being, faster, stronger, guys that can jump higher, than, what I was used to in the Valley. But, not only that, just the guards, being bigger and stronger as well. And so, we attacked a little bit of switching 5 in the Missouri Valley, but, I was able to, do better in the post because the guards weren't as big. But, guys here in the A10 are, a lot stronger. And so, it was a little bit more difficult to just back those guys down. And so we kind of had to do some different things. And so, I think with my year in now, I'm able to see, differently. And so I think it'll help us, ultimately in the end this year.
Yeah, Josh, I heard that one of the biggest advantages of having Robbie back and healthy at this year's A10 Media Day, because obviously he had the ankle injury last year, was that he was able to carry your bags off the plane.
Yeah, that
yesterday
was
when you guys landed.
Remember his bags. Off the plane.
I forgot him. Yeah, that was the biggest thing. Was last year he couldn't have done that. He was all hobbled up on crutches. This year he can actually take care of me, serve me. He brought me dinner last night at the, up to my room, brought me up, dropped it off. It was nice. Carried my bags.
We pride this guy on his honesty, and he comes on here and just lies. So it's
Really?
Yeah.
He did get my bag though for me, but I did forget it on the plane. So that would have been, he did save the day.
You forgot your bag on the plane?
Yeah, I did. It was in the back. I thought it was in a different place. So then I got off the plane and he had already grabbed it for me. So I remembered it, but I didn't know where it was. He had grabbed it. So
we were off the plane for about 5 minutes already, and he's walking back and forth. I was confused on what he was doing. And so he finally got off, and I was like, your bag's already in the car. He's oh, thanks.
Who knows more about the
At
other
least he
here?
said thank you. At least he said thank you.
Do you feel like you know more about him? I mean, he's a coach. He has to know everything about you, but it feels like you two.
I think I've gotten to know him a little bit more now than he's gotten to know me. Obviously he's big focus on the basketball piece, but I've learned he's got a lot of terrible takes off the court.
Really?
Okay,
name one of
What's
them.
the
Yeah,
worst?
you have to. You can't.
Man, obviously his food takes are terrible.
oh my gosh.
He doesn't know what good steak is. All that stuff. And
Wait a
so
minute
it's
now.
hard.
Hold
it's
on
hard
a
to believe
second.
him.
We have to give him a chance to respond.
Okay, go ahead.
Good steak.
I mean, well, first off, I think Robbie on his visit at Indiana State had his first ever steak. So he'd never eaten a steak before. So, I mean, it's amazing that in 2021, you're a steak novice. Now, all of a sudden in 2025, you're a steak snob. And his disagreement is, over that he thinks that Ruth Chris has better steaks
Not
than
just
Capitol
me,
Grill.
everybody on the team.
I go with
besides
Capitol
him.
Grill. He
So-
goes with Ruth Chris. They also think that Subway is better than Jersey Mike's, which is also a terrible take. I mean, there's a lot of.
Kidding me?
Where's that weren't said? Where's that weren't said?
Your teammates. That's a team thing.
Yeah,
They love
that's
a
Subway
problem.
over.
Jersey
yes,
Mike's
Jersey
is
Mike's
better.
way better than
The Jersey
Subway.
Mike's Italian.
Yes.
Mike's way.
Oh my God.
The debate ends there.
Right. I'm with you on that. So this is now. I'm probably going to get banned from Subway and Ruth Chris back home. But yes. So that's our food debates that are my
Controversy
bad
keeps
takes.
going. We'll cut it short there.
But in the midst
It's a shame
of this,
they don't get along.
Yeah, right. But you know what? But I want to hit on this angle because when talking with folks around the program, one of the things that comes to mind is yes, there's that time of, and I think that's what it's been awesome to watch your success because I think you guys are human and you have fun with it and you don't take yourselves too seriously. But when you get inside that room, when you're in the lab, how would you describe, and I'll go to you, the way that you flip that switch and the intensity level, the competitive edge?
Mm-hmm.
Where's that come from?
Yeah, I think just the feeling of losing, I've had, throughout my life, in basketball, it's obviously one of the worst feelings. And so, I, try not to feel that way as much as possible. And so just, that, drive of, wanting to win, is able to, I'm able to have fun off the court, even within the court, I have my fun moments, but just, make sure that we're going to take care of business first, make sure that, the main thing is going to be the main thing. And so just having that ability to, like you said, just kind of flip on that switch of like, all right, now it's time to lock in, stay focused, and let's do the right things in order to, be successful.
Yeah, I think, my opinion, you can take what you do incredibly seriously without taking yourself incredibly seriously. I don't think those are, mutually, exclusive. I think you have to be able to do that. And there's a balance of, at the end of the day, we're doing something fun. I think humor and joy is really important as much as we're together. Particularly now, like, seasons, we start June practicing. If you can't laugh at yourself, have fun, bring joy, sprinkle humor, makes for a very, very long year. And a part of that is, talk a lot about humility. I think the ability to look at yourself and laugh at yourself. If you can't do that, I think that says a lot about you. And in our program, everybody gets it from me on down. So you better be able to take it and have some thick skin and some humility about you.
So last year, I was joking about Robbie's ankle, but last year, injuries really just kind of torpedoed you, even at the very start. In our event, you got Robbie, you hurt your ankle again, and I don't know if you ever quite got back to where you wanted to be after that. You've had an off season to kind of retool. You got 10 new pieces in here. The depth, I don't think, is going to be as much of an issue if you can kind of keep everything healthy. My biggest question is, with all of these pieces, are you going to be able to have enough minutes and shots to go around to keep everyone happy?
Yeah. So 10 new guys, 6 portal, 4 freshmen. We have 5 returners who were 5 of our top 8 scorers. Obviously, the bad part of the injuries was we were down to 7 players in December and finished the year with 9 players. Had to unredshirt 2 guys to get through the season. The good part was those guys got experience playing as freshmen because they were forced into it. I think in terms of, the question of how do you keep everybody happy, the answer truly is you can't. There's no way you're going to play, 12, 13 guys. There's only 200 minutes. There's only so many shots. This team, it is different in terms of our challenges last year, where could we play guys 38, 39 minutes and hold up throughout a season? This year, less has got to be more. Guys are going to have to embrace and accept roles. Guys are going to have to. We got a lot of really ambitious guys. We talk a lot about ambition versus agenda. Being able to play, have really, ambition is great, agenda is bad. But guys embracing, accepting roles, guys being able to play without agendas, guys sacrificing, giving up, good to the group, because we have a lot of depth. For me, my 18th year as head coach, by far the deepest team I've ever had. I don't know if it'll be the best. We'll see in time. We'll tell that. But in terms of, 1 through 15 and really, we have 12 or 13 guys that can play at a really high level. So the answer is we're not going to be able to, and we're going to really lean into the character, the people in the room to be able to give up for the good of the group, because that's going to be Robbie on down. A lot of these guys, he's going to play, less minutes than he had to play last year, which I think will make him better. He'll have less on his plate, but so will everybody else. It'll be more distributed in terms of playmaking, minutes, shots, all those things.
Robbie, I'm curious how you view last year, right? You came in with a certain level of expectations and you were kind of banged up. And it wasn't like it was a terrible season, but it wasn't probably what you envisioned back when we did this last year.
Yeah, no, obviously, I think every season has its challenges. Mine were, a little bit more personal with, obviously the injury and then, obviously injuries of others. But, I think you can learn, something from every season. And obviously I think we learned a lot from last year. And so, I think it's like Schertz says all the time, it was a good, foundation setting year, kind of getting started, of what, the program will be in time come. And so, I think, like you said, it was an okay year. And obviously we still won 19 games with, what we did. And so, I think just, it's a good start, and we're hoping to kind of build off of what last year was to hopefully, push it to, more wins and more rings.
That's really impressive that you could flip the switch from my coach doesn't know anything about stakes to, we had it was a really good PR kind of speech season here. So I'm impressed, man.
I can go back to making fun of him when we want to. Maybe another question. I got it. I can talk about how we have to carry the, bad coaching and, how it's more players, but, just tell me what you want. I'll do it.
Do you have the, you two can be so, because you know each other so well, and I'm sure you're this way with many of, if not all of your players, you want to know them on a basis where you can just be truthful.
Yes, I think relationships have to be strong enough to bear the burden of truth, right? I mean, ultimately, if you don't have a foundational relationship where you can be honest with guys, I haven't changed how I coached in Division II and Division I. I've always believed that relationships are the holy grail. The thing that's the most important thing is how you connect with your players, how you build relationships. That allows you to coach them, to be honest with them, to challenge them, to also understand, hey, when things are going bad, like what does that individual player need? And ultimately, at the end of the day, that is the biggest part, I think, of coaching, is being able to one would probably evaluate, but then after evaluation is your ability to connect and really build authentic real relationships with your players.
Go ahead. We got time for maybe one more.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say a real question about the team. I want to know who of these newcomers has impressed you and what St. Louis fans can kind of expect from some of these transfers that are coming in.
Yeah, no, I think obviously every guy has, had spurts of, big moments, but I think the biggest ones are, obviously Trey, him and Ish, their shooting ability. I think, Ish went one practice where he was like 10 for 12 from three, at 30 points just off that, just keeping it very simple. Trey's had moments where I think he hit 4 in a row. We had a end of the game scrimmage. We're playing the last 4 minutes, and I think we were up to 6 and just keep going, and he had literally 4 threes in a row to keep them within the game. And so just obviously their scoring ability, and then just the athleticism of Paul, a big physical guy that just seems to beat everybody down the court every single possession. He's always the first one down. And then you got Dion, who brings, different type of energy. He's more of the dog of the team. And so, with him, coming back, off his injury, just bringing that energy back that we've needed. And so, I think, those 4 guys have, been the biggest ones that have wowed me, in our short time so far.
Got some good pieces.
Didn't even mention Quentin Jones or Brady Dunlap.
I was just going to say.
No, but
you
he's
got some
right.
shooting, coach.
Yeah.
You got some shot makers.
We got a lot of depth, and we got a lot of guys that make shots, a lot of guys that can play make. It's now we got a team, I was telling them, we got a team that really, I think, could compound each other in a really good way, offensively, defensively, and it's exciting for what the possibilities are.
Josh Schertz, Robbie Avila with us from A10 Media Day. Folks, we look forward to watching you, and remember your bags on the plane ride home.
I know I will. He won't. I got 2 bags.
We need a meme of you TSA. Or...
you know what? I've been carrying him for the last 3 years. I mean, might as well help him, reciprocate.
Notice how his career's been better with me.
I'm going to pull a fast one on you here before you get up and leave. I agree with Capitol Grill is probably where I stand, but where is this here in my wallet? I have a George Costanza wallet.
Yeah, I was going to say that is the biggest wallet I've ever seen.
Listen, I'm a fan of Ruth Chris. I just don't see the huge difference of Ruth Chris being exponentially better than Capitol Grill. I think Capitol Grill steak, in my opinion, is better, but they're both great.
It's just hard because everybody else in the program has stated that Capitol Grill is probably 3rd on their list. And so it's it's hard to take a guy serious when the rest of the group is agreeing. So.
If the plane pulls out and one of them's left on the tarmac. Thanks, guys.
I promise it won't be me.
Guys.
One of college basketball's most entertaining duos, Coach Schertz and Robbie Avila of St. Louis. We've got Richmond. We've got Richmond coming up next. Chris Mooney and Mike Walz will join us. What's on your mind, Mr. Dauster?
I was going to say we can go to a commercial break.
Let's do it. We're going to take a quick timeout. Trevor Valise is going to take a pause for the restroom and watch something about Brett Bielema and the Illini football team heading into this week, coming off a big win over USC. And we'll be right back after these messages.
Do you need your fix of college basketball analysis at the end of every night during the season? If you crave instant reactions and informed breakdowns, make sure you tune into the Field of 68 After Dark every night with access to the biggest stars in the sport and a cast of characters that includes the likes of Tyler Hansborough, Randolph Childress, John Fanta, John Henson, Terrence Oglesby, Jarrell McNeil, and many, many more. The Field of 68 After Dark is where college basketball happens.
There is no sport in America that is more difficult to follow than college basketball. It can be overwhelming.
That's where the Field of 68 Daily comes into play. The Daily is your go-to source for injury updates, recruiting news, and transfer portal additions that actually matter. For just $50 a year, get access to the same information that your favorite team's coaching staff is subscribed for. Quality content can be hard to find in the college basketball space. The Daily is here to help you with that.
Welcome back to Atlantic 10 Media Day from PPG Paints Arena here in Pittsburgh, and we are pleased to be joined by the Richmond Spiders head coach Chris Mooney, as well as Mike Walz. And well, before we get to anything, I was
your suit, man?
Stop! Come on,
Where's your suit?
Left it behind.
Come on,
It's a new fashion statement. Actually.
I saw this guy. I felt I was heading in the hotel last night, and you must have been grinding in class, practice, whatever. Not yesterday. You had a big day. Got in very late last night, and you didn't have anything with you. What happened?
I was so prepared, minus all the clothing that I needed for the day. It was a shame. I brought my best suit, monogrammed.
And
brought my uniform.
Right.
I was trying to outdress Coach. That's just something I aspire to do.
Although
It's
this
hard for me to
jacket, you have the Richmond color. I mean, you've been head coach since 2005. So, but you've got the color scheme down to a T, Coach.
You have to. You know what I mean? You really have to, especially since ties have gone out of style to a certain degree. Although I saw you with a tie on Football Night in America.
Thank you very much.
Sharp.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Well, he went from Football Night in America straight to here just so we could see you.
Absolutely.
It's great.
One of the first guests I ever had on this network. We did a great interview where we talked about when you were having a terrific season and then showed up to the NCAA tournament and made noise there, taking down the Iowa Hawkeyes. But, it is year 50 of the Atlantic 10, and you've been the head coach at Richmond 2 decades. When you think about this league and in this ever-changing wild climate of college basketball, its place at the table still and the pageantry and turning on Selection Sunday and seeing that Atlantic 10 championship game on CBS, how would you describe it in your time in this conference?
Yeah, I think the league is incredible. I grew up in Philadelphia where the league was headquartered and so many teams, Temple, St. Joe's, later LaSalle. So I've grown up with the Atlantic 10, love the conference, and it's I think we're very proud to be part of the conference at Richmond. And I think everyone is working so hard because it's such a changing time in college basketball, college sports. Everyone is working as hard as we possibly can to, retain our position among the very best in the country. And that's a tall order as these bigger conferences not only grow by adding schools, but also grow in terms of their financial dominance. But we're working very hard to do that. And I think Bernadette on down, we're all trying to put ourselves in the very best position to be among the nation's elite.
So you mentioned you're from Philadelphia. Did you know he's an Eagles fan?
Yep.
What did you do to celebrate the Super Bowl win?
So we watched it with my 2 boys. So I've taken my boys up to a game each year the last few years, and we are big Eagles fans. We watched the game at home because the Eagles were in it. We stayed at home just to make sure. Was it 30-7 at half or something like that?
Yeah, it was over.
Yeah. So we just really enjoyed it, and it's not so much the night you win the Super Bowl, Mike. It's the
there it is.
It's the year that you have afterwards to have the Eagles, as we call them, to be champs is really just great for pride.
So why is he rubbing that in, Mike?
I'm on my way to becoming an Eagles fan. I'm trying to be indoctrinated.
Who have you been a fan of?
I grew up in Atlanta, so it was kind of the Falcons.
Oh, so a different bird who 30-7 lead would not be safe with.
Doesn't win as much. Yes,
Mike, it's okay. I'm a Browns fan, so you
we all
really.
feel bad for you in that case.
What's that?
We all feel bad for you in that.
Thank you. I appreciate your thoughts and prayers. Let's talk a little bit of basketball because I think that this is, folks. This to me and to us is the best part about this sport when a player says this. You made a comment last week saying, I felt like I owed it to the school to repay what they trusted me with as to why you are a fourth-year senior who's never transferred. I know how much you appreciate that. We'll get to that in a second. We don't hear players talk about that, about not often anyways. what does this place mean to you, and what did you mean when you said those comments?
Well, Richmond took me in when I was an 18-year-old kid with no idea what I was going to do in my life. All I know is that basketball was important, family was important, academics were important, culture and community that Coach Mooney preached to me in the recruitment process was important to me. And I just saw myself grow so much over these past couple of years, learning under great basketball centers. Grant Golden has come back. TJ Klein's come back. Neil Quinn's been around. Matt Grace, who hit the amazing shot against Davidson, or the little drop step, to send us to March Madness. Just all these moments and all these people that have come together and made this place remarkable and unforgettable, and a place I'll always call home. And so when the time came after the season, people were asking, hey, what are you going to do? Like, what's going on? It was never a question. It was Coach Mooney trusted me when I was an 18-year-old kid. I want to trust him with my senior season, and I trust what this program can do.
Wow.
What does it mean to you when you hear that?
It's extraordinary. And I think that obviously it's becoming more extraordinary by the year. And, you know, I remember recruiting Mike and, you know, obviously being so impressed with him as a young man and the things that we thought he would be able to do. You know, he's very active on campus. He's, you know, he's a tremendous kid. He takes the responsibility of being a leader very, very seriously and personally. So, yeah, I feel like, you know, where that obviously Mike can articulate it very impressively. And that used to be a little bit more, maybe not the norm in college basketball in the last 20 years, but a little bit more people were striving for, hoping to strive for. And for now, Mike is very much the exception. And, you know, for him to say those things about Richmond makes us all feel great.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you say that, because there's a guy that I coached Little League Baseball with who played on one of Coach Mooney's first teams at Arcadia University way back in the day. And what he said was, I could tell you stories of the things that he could not be able to pull off anymore. Do you see any of that still? Does Mad Dog Mooney come out at all?
Of course. Old habits never die. Can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Never die.
Can't teach an old dog new tricks. You know, winning is winning. Everybody wants to win. Coach Mooney is one of the fiercest competitors I've ever met, especially as a coach. And I trust that if he's getting fired up about something, we all should be getting fired up about something. I trust his judgment, and I trust his passion and energy.
That's a good answer right there.
That's what I'm talking about.
He's got your back.
You know, one of the things, not just about not just you back, but you know, McKillop coming back to this program after the year that he had last year. How excited are you for what's in store for this season? What does he mean to this group?
He means a lot. You know, McKillop is an extremely, extremely hard worker. He's in the gym constantly. He's a very gifted athlete, and he's really worked very, very hard. I mean, he's gotten a lot of attention from the coaches. We're just trying to help him just develop his pace and sense for the game and where he can have an impact. You know, he's so quick and fast and powerful that sometimes we feel like he gets sped up a little bit, and just trying to help him become a player who is keeping the other teams off balance. But, you know, McKillop, I hope he's sitting here next year as a fourth-year senior, as he's been in our program for 3 years now, and, you know, has the same makeup of the great players that we've had in the past. And we hope that he can finish his career at Richmond with 2 great seasons.
So the guy I'm really curious to see with you this season is Jaden Daughtry, right? Mm-hmm. I think he averaged, was it 27 points per 40 minutes last year? It was like 12 and a half points and didn't even play 20 minutes a game. How can you get that out of him? And I'm assuming if you're scoring like that and you're only playing 19 minutes, there's probably issues on the defensive end of the floor that made it so he only played 19 minutes. Where have you seen him improve?
Yeah, I think stamina is probably something that we're working really hard on. He's a really hard worker, energetic person. You know, he's from Richmond originally. Mm-hmm. So yeah, his stats were off the charts. I think that was the first thing I said is, wow, how many points in 19 minutes. And then why did he only play 19 minutes? But Jaden is a guy who brings tremendous energy and passion. He's probably not the most prototypical Richmond player because he's such a rugged interior scorer and a guy who draws fouls at a very high rate, but maybe like Nathan Kao, who we had, who is a little bit different, but can give us some things that we normally lack. So we're all excited for Jaden. He brings a tremendous amount of energy every day, and happy to have him on the Spiders.
So we joked a little bit about Mad Dog Mooney. And you said the old dog, new tricks, all that. But hey, there's something productive here out of whatever the magic is of Coach Mooney, and that is you had 3 former players become first-time Division I head coaches this offseason. And based on your sports information department is accumulating all this from around the country, but there cannot be many coaches that can be able to say that. We're talking about Zach Chu at Radford, Dan Jerry at Iona, and Kevin Hovde at Columbia. You attended each of their press conferences as well. We understand. What was that like? I mean, I got to imagine there's nothing more satisfying than when you're a spectator for guys that you coached.
Yeah, really exciting. I think over the years I probably tried to talk all of them out of going into coaching during their time at Richmond. But no, it was really exciting to see those guys. They handled themselves extremely well at the press conference, and it was a great celebration. In coaching, there are just so few jobs. There are so few jobs to be able to get a head coaching job, and for them to have achieved that while their coach is still at their alma mater is exciting. And I wanted to be part of it, and hope those guys do great. We're not going to schedule them, but we hope those guys do great.
Well, we hope the Spiders do great this year. We appreciate both you guys, and good luck to your Phillies in Red October.
Yes, here we go.
Thanks,
here we
guys.
Go. Thanks very much, guys.
Appreciate it. There's the Richmond Spiders stopping by, and we look forward to watching. I hope Mike gets his bag. Mike Walz, and a 3.88 cumulative GPA, I understand. Wow. And a scratch golfer. He's a Renaissance man. We're out of time. That's all the time we have, Mike Walz. That's all the time we have. We appreciate the Spiders stopping by. I was in Buffalo covering the NCAA tournament and watched Providence beat Baylor Shireman in South Dakota State. How about that? And the next game, Iowa comes on the 4 Big Ten champions, and they take on Richmond. And Coach Mooney on that day put Coach McCaffrey in a warp. I mean, Richmond, and they had Jacob Gilliard, and they won that ball game. And
he's
then
had some good teams there.
He's
had some good.
He had not an easy place, not an easy job. But I think, Rob, when we talk about it, like in a league like this, what I do notice is some of these teams are scheduling, and you have to. We're going to talk to Bernadette McGlade, who's in her 18th year as commissioner of this league. Like in this climate, if you're going to get multiple bids, you've got to find a way to strategically schedule.
And not just schedule, you have to win those games in the non-conference. It ends up being so important because that's what sets the floor for what you can be in league play, right? There's only so much you can do to have your league resume get improved when you are beating up on each other during league plays. We're joined now by
Let's do it.
Drew Valentine and Miles Rubin. We're live. Mics are hot. Miles, if you got something crazy to say.
These fellas got in late last night. Drew Valentine, Miles.
That they were hot, Miles.
That's right. They're here. They're in the house. The Ramblers. And folks, watch out for this Loyola Chicago team. We know that there's high expectation. We're excited to watch you guys. Coach, I guess we'll start right there. When you look at the identity of this team and guys like Miles and the people that you've got in your lab every single day, what is possible at Loyola this season?
Yeah, I think we can be a championship level team. I think that's the expectation every year for us. And, we've proven that year after year. We've turned rosters over and changed leagues, et cetera, and been able to be a championship level team. So that expectation isn't going nowhere. And we expect to be, contending for multiple championships this year.
Yeah. Miles, you were one of the best defenders in college basketball this past season, one of the best shot blockers in college basketball this past season. And I'm sure that when your season ended, you started hearing people reach out to you. That's what you do in college basketball in 2025. You have a good year, you try to find a place to transfer to. You didn't. You didn't enter the portal. You're still right here with Loyola Chicago.
Yeah.
With Coach Valentine. Why?
I felt like it was no reason to go anywhere. I felt very comfortable where I'm at. I feel like Drew trusts me a lot. And like he believes in me and what I can become in the future. So I felt like it was no reason for me to leave.
Look, that says a lot. And it also says a lot about the fact that in this climate, you've got 3 returning starters.
Mm-hmm.
You've got 3 guys, Justin Moore being one. I'm not going to try. Please pronounce Kamani
Winsue.
There it is, Kamani Winsu, a last name that starts with Win. Exactly. That's going to lead to some things. When you think about that, I mean, continuity is so hard to achieve. You and your staff find it in the form of those 3 starters. How big is that? Well, every day when you're walking in, they know what to expect. Then they can relate to the other guys. This is how we do it here.
Correct, man. You're doing my job, man. John, I mean, you're just on point today. I love the energy. Like, let's go, man.
Coach, it's the season's here.
It's here, and I'm excited to go. But, yeah, no, exactly. These guys set the tone every day, and you know, Miles is a guy that's, you know, been here for 3 years now, and he's really gotten outside of himself as a leader and a person that is commanding a certain level of excellence and standard every day. And if you would have met Miles in high school when he was, 16, 17 years old, to see where he's at now as a leader out there of his teammates it's incredibly fun for me to watch. And then I think Kamani and Justin are just more comfortable. Like you said, they know me, they know our system, they know the standard, they know the why behind things. They know why I'm, might be, just so on guys about attention to detail with this particular thing. If like, I want you to be in a stance with your hands up, like this is the reason why, or if I want you to communicate a certain way, this is the reason why. So their leadership has been great, and they've really been doing a great job of not only leading with their words, but by example as well.
Let's talk a little injury updates. Obviously last year you probably had as bad an injury luck as anybody in college basketball did. Kamani is back and healthy and 100%, and Justin is now on his way back. Is he back practicing full go?
Yeah, Justin's been full go for a couple weeks now. He's
how's he look? Look good, Miles?
I mean, I think he's
great to me.
Yeah. Miles likes playing with him. We all love having JMO back, but I mean, I think he's the best point guard in our league. I mean, he's just so dynamic. He takes care of the ball. He's a really good defender. He's improved as a shooter, and I think he's more comfortable and understands me and understands like, yo, this is you got the keys, bro. Like run it. Keep this thing afloat. So he's awesome. He's back. He's still not totally quite back conditioning wise back yet, but he's been getting after for a couple weeks. And then Kamani is back and been practicing a full goal since middle of July. So it's great to have those two guys back.
The guy I'm really excited to see with you is Dajour Tavares. We did a whole bunch of stuff with Charleston last year. I got up close look at him going nuts up in South Dakota. We saw him play really well against I believe it was FAU at the event we did down in Charleston. Yeah, he is a guy. He could score. He's just buckets on buckets on buckets.
Yeah. No, I don't know if you want to speak more else about Will.
I mean, he's pretty good. I mean, he had scored 30 on us in Hawaii. So,
yeah, I mean, he
put 30 on you in Hawaii?
Yeah.
30.
Yeah,
Is that was one of those ones you went by the handshake like, hey, by the way, you want to be a Rambler, man.
I don't know about that, but when we knew that he was going, it was a very aggressive pursuit because we felt it up close and personal, and he can really get it going, and he's a confident guy. He's a guy that is gonna hunt, and if you guys saw us play last year, those guys that were out there on the wings and the shots that I want those guys to pursue and shoot and be aggressive to shoot, like he's taken a couple the last couple of days where pull-ups from 30 feet in transition, which I love, but we might be able to get a better one. But he believes in himself, and I love guys that believe in themselves, and I love coaching David.
You want him to want to shoot that, but also like maybe you get like one of those a game.
Yeah, exactly. And as long as you're practicing it and you're putting the work in, which we do, you got a lot of freedom for me to shoot.
Miles, how much does he remind you about the 30 ball that he put on you?
Can you repeat the last part?
How much does he remind you about the 30 ball that he put on you in Hawaii? Did you hear about a lot in practice?
Yeah, I hear it pretty much every day. Like, every time something happens, he'd be like, "Oh, I had 30 on y'all." Can't really say much.
Now, I got to ask a big man this question here. Who do you like in your game after? Who do you like to watch? Well, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's just old NBA highlights, or who was your biggest inspiration from a big man perspective?
Recently, I've been watching Nick Claxton, Isaiah Hartenstein, some Sabonis,
Evan Mobley.
Evan Mobley.
Yeah,
that's a good one for you.
And the defense comes to mind there because of the defender that you are.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Your plan is you're sitting next to the best defensive player in this league.
I know he's the best defensive player in the league. I've watched it for 2 years. The impact that he has, the numbers would show it. The on and off numbers would show it. The impact, the way that he not only can protect the rim, and we talk about that, but he can switch and sit down on the perimeter. I give him crap about it all the time on the perimeter and act like he can't do it because I can't make him feel himself too much. But I mean, he is a dynamic. He has a total identity, and that's why not only he's the best defender in the country, but why he's a pro. I mean, you can plug and play him at the highest level because of what he does, and he's gotten stronger. I don't know if you guys can tell, but 15 pounds this offseason, and that's allowed him to get more big or more powerful, more quick, more explosive, and I think you'll really see that in his game this year, especially on the offensive end.
I'm just amazed that a guy that is this good of a defender and understands the game this well was coached by Jerome McNeil when he was in playing AAU basketball.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Don't listen to anything.
That's our
he's
guy.
done.
He does shows at us.
He does
That's
shows
our
at
guy.
us. We're just messing.
We can't say anything nice about it.
Before we let you go, a guy that I don't think we hit on, Josh Ola Joseph, who you brought in from Cal. What does he bring to this program?
Yeah, I think first of all, Josh is an extremely confident, high-level guy that believes he's good, and I want guys to do that because not only does he do that, but he's like chasing something. He's working hard towards something. So in this day and age, a lot of people aren't motivated, and coaches can complain and cry about it all the time, or you can try to get good at it and try to be 1% better than everybody else. And I think Josh is a guy that's individually motivated to be a really, really good basketball player. I would say that he brings physicality and athleticism. I mean, he's 6'6", 220 pounds. I mean, he has some of the tip dunks, some of the offensive rebounding, some of the highlight backdoor, cutting finishes that he can have. But he's also can space the floor and hit threes. And then he's also a versatile defender. So I think at his size, his athleticism, his physicality, we've had big wings in our program that have been really good for us. And I think he's definitely, has a lot of what those guys have been good at in the past, and I think he's going to bring that to the floor for us this year.
So you guys made the run to the NIT semis last year. How valuable was that for you to be able to allow maybe some of these other guys to get more reps and more chance to play? Maybe allow some of the redshirt guys to get a couple more practices in. Like, what did you get out of that?
Yeah, I think that was great. Like we had a couple guys, young guys that played a little bit last year. One was Daniil Glaskov, and then the other one was Braden Young, who was a redshirt for us last year, and he got to go against Miles and Jalen Deloach last year. And I think that month, Miles will even say, like, that last month, he really started to show some things and flash some things. And then
what have you seen out of him?
I mean, his defense. I mean, he got great rim protection. I would say it's on par as me. To me, I would say.
Ooh. He's got really good hand activity, like in coverage, like he gets his hands, a lot of deflection, stuff like that.
Blocked your shot a lot?
No, not my shot.
Yeah, come on now. Come on now.
But yeah, no, it helped those guys. It helped Miles even. Like Miles, what did I don't know what the stats are. Kayla's right there, but Miles started to show more of his offensive game. He was driving more from the perimeter. I mean, there was a couple times versus Charleston and Kent State, or not Charleston, but Chattanooga and Kent State and even San Francisco, where he was driving from the perimeter more, and he got to expand. And that's also, I thought it was great for him as well. So it was great for the program. We got to have another home game. Our seniors got to have another home game, which was one of my favorite home games that we've had at Loyola. To get to go to that, and that experience down there in Indy was big time. So it was great for the program. Got us to 25 wins, etc. So it was good.
Coach Miles, we appreciate the time. Good luck to the Ramblers this season, and thanks for stopping by.
Tell Kevin Sweeney we said hello.
We will.
There it is, fellas.
Hey, Cubs playing the next couple of days, so maybe I'll see him out there.
That's it. All right. Drew Valentine, Miles Rubin in the house. Atlantic 10 Media Day. We talked about Atlantic 10 celebrating 50 years. And you think about this league, 25 total schools at some point have been a part of this conference. 50 years of greatness, of so many terrific moments. And we are joined by the 18th year commissioner of the Atlantic 10, Bernadette McGlade. Bernadette, it is terrific to have you here on a remarkable day. We love all of to you, your staff.
I got my
put
pin
this
on.
together.
He hasn't put his pin on yet.
It's coming. It's going to get on right now. 50 years, folks, of the Atlantic 10. Bernadette, I was thinking about this because you took the job at Georgia Tech as women's basketball coach at the age of 23. At the age of 23, you've had an unbelievable career throughout this sport, and now as the commissioner of this league, we know it's a crazy time in college basketball and all of that, but this is celebration. This is history. The Atlantic 10, what does it mean to Bernadette McGlade?
Well, I just think the history, the tradition, we always use this saying, great people, great places, extraordinary opportunities. And that does sum up the A10. When you look at the fabulous academic institutions we have, we're located in over 32% of the media markets in America. I mean, these are schools with tradition and excellence. And then when you combine it with the success that we've had, especially in the sport of basketball, being a basketball-centric league. I mean, in the last, I believe, 12 years, we've had 36 teams in the NCAA. And, obviously, last year we came off of one team, but we're pretty much been averaging 3 teams a year in the NCAA postseason. So it's, it's really an unbelievable league. I'm very fortunate to have been hired in this position and to have held this position for as long as I have. And, can only thank the presidents and our coaches and our administrators for, they've been willing to take a risk over these 50 years.
We were talking a little bit earlier, Fanta and I, about how important it is to have a successful non-conference season to be able to set yourself up for being in a place to get multiple bids, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it ends up being. What is your directive to the coaches in this conference? Do you want a minimum number of wins? Do you want a certain quality of opponent? Is there like a minimum average net that you want to see these guys play? Like, from the conference side, how do you guys kind of send out directives for what scheduling should look like?
Well, as you know, there's not one secret sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Having served on the men's basketball selection committee and seeing, how so many different conferences advance teams into the NCAA championship field. It's a little bit different, really, depending on the institutions, where they are in a program. Did they just go through, where they graduated a lot of seniors? Did they just go through a coaching change? Now, it's totally different with the whole NIL and the transfer portal. So we try to really emphasize to everyone, and our coaches get it, and our athletic directors get it. You have to be able to be in a position to play teams. And, we like to use the thing, we'll play anyone, anywhere, anytime. Because getting great non-conference opponents, especially teams that have been previously have a history in the NCAA championship, that's tough. And, you have to rely on MTEs. You have to go on the road oftentimes. But every school's got to be able to build a quality non-conference schedule. And at the end of the day, you have to win games. There's no fool in the committee. You have to win games and come out of non-conference with winning records against credible opponents. And then it depends on where you play them or where you get that win for how that kind of calculates into the mystical formula of the net.
Yeah, well, along those same lines, too, we've had a lot of discussions about how we have the field of 68 branding on everything, right? NCAA tournament expansion has been one of the biggest topics of the offseason. And it got pushed back. It's not happening this year. I can save these. I don't have to spend the money to buy the new mic flags for another year, but it seems like that's the direction that it's probably trending. Is that something that you guys would like to see?
Yeah, it really is. And I've been a proponent of the expansion. I think what it does in terms of the sport of basketball, when you look at all the other programs, whether it's the CFP, whether it's the NBA, whether it's Major League Baseball, there's really, when there's only 68 teams going into the NCAA into March Madness, and there's 365 Division I schools, Charlie Baker has said it very eloquently, there are great teams that deserve to be in the field that are being left out of the field simply because we are right now capped at 68. There are individuals that will say to me, well, the Power Four might get all those extra slots. Why would you be in favor of it? The A10, we're willing to stand up and compete with anyone with the Power Four to be able to get extra opportunities, extra openings, extra AQs, not AQs, at larges, to get into the bracket. So I think it's time. I think that, everyone's ready for an expanded bracket. And I do think that, it can be pulled off relatively strategically and benefit, even undergraduate enrollment goes up on campuses when their team gets in March Madness.
Is the Atlantic 10 happy at 14?
We're happy right now. I love all of our member institutions. Obviously, we knew that UMass was going to make the change. Really, it was compelled by their FBS football program. And we've had a great, obviously, UMass was an original member of the A10. So it's a little bit bittersweet that they didn't say one more year and actually make it to 50. But they were in the A10 for 49 years, and they were a great member. But right now, our membership is solid. Do we keep our eyes on conference realignment? If there is a quality program that's out there that brings value, that adds benefit, of course, we're always going to look. We're never going to say never. But at the same time, I feel like we have a tremendously solid footprint. And 14 is still a pretty large league.
Oh, yes, it is. Larger than others. No question about it. What's your take on the revenue sharing side and how things get to any sort of state that isn't what it is right now, which is just a total craze and not a lot of answers?
Yeah, I do think that we need help from Washington, D.C. We need to get some antitrust protection. We need to get some preemption from these individual state laws and AGs, attorney generals that are coming in with, protective type of legislation to protect their universities in their state and that they don't have to abide. The NCAA is an association. We have to be able to construct our own rules and hold our institutions accountable. Like you said, we're kind of in the wild, wild west right now. So I think for there to be some federal legislation could be truly helpful. And at the end of the day, I think we need help with the transfer portal. The transfer portal, I'm all for student athletes having the ability to transfer one time during their career. And then if it goes beyond that they have to basically sit out. And the comparison is also often used, coaches can leave anytime they want. Well, you and I know, yes, they can, but maybe no, they can't, because most often they have buyouts, they have restrictions in their contract, and there is a penalty to be paid. We can talk all day long about who pays that penalty, but it's not a free market.
Yeah.
What I think the way that it should be for the portal is, yes, you can transfer, but 10% of whatever that NIL deal that you're getting at the next school is going to be the transfer fee that you got to pay to the former school, which means that some of that money kind of trickles down. So let's just say, Loyola loses a player to Kansas, which happened this summer. Then some of that money that he's making gets back to Loyola, and they have a little bit more money to spend in the portal themselves. And it creates a little disincentive for teams to just go out and target every player that they want on another team's roster.
Yeah, I think you're right. And, basically the sort of underhanded illegal recruitment of athletes right now across the country, because there is no penalty for transfer and you can be immediately eligible, I think is a real downside of our game. It's not good for the game. I don't think it's good for the student athlete. I was a student athlete at UNC, and I have an affinity for there. I have my friends are there. When there's alumni day, I know where I'm going for alumni day.
Well, you have that core, you have your base, you have your people.
This new generation of student athletes that are transferring 2, 3, and sometimes 4 times. It's like when you're 30 years old, where are you going to go back to alumni day? And where are you going to lean on? What's your support system for career advancement and those sorts of things? So hopefully we'll get the reins, in a little bit with this unlimited transfer portal. And I think that will play largely into how the revenue share goes as well.
Before we let you go, we obviously love college basketball. We love coming here to Pittsburgh to your media day.
We know you do.
And when we talk about 50 years and traditions and whatnot, one of the great traditions in this sport is sitting down on Selection Sunday and flipping on the Atlantic 10 championship game on CBS. The whole vibe, the whole aura, it speaks for itself, and that says how special this league is. I know how special that has to be to you.
Yeah, well, thank you. And that was a big decision when I had first taken this job. We obviously did not have that window with CBS. They've been a fabulous partner, and they were able to slot us in that window. We actually got slotted in that window before there was a first 4. So it's a little bit of a squeeze. As you know, we finished the championship, and we'd like to think that both our championship team and whoever they're playing are going to be advancing into the NCAA championship. But, it far outweighs changing that date. We love being on Selection Sunday. Our partners love it, and it is a part of the fabric of the league right now. So thank you for commenting on that.
We appreciate you, Bernadette. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.
Thank
Great
you,
to have
Bernie.
you here.
Commissioner McGlade joining us here at Atlantic 10 Media Day. We're going to keep it rolling. We've got St. Joe's and LaSalle to round out our morning session. We'll talk about those teams after this. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with you here. Field of 68 from Atlantic 10 Media Day. Don't go anywhere.
The college basketball season will begin right here on the Field of 68. At 8 a.m. on November 3rd, we will be tipping off the inaugural Field of 68 opening day marathon. 15 hours of nonstop basketball. It will begin in Rock Hill, presented by our friends at Visit York County. Plan your itinerary today at visityorkcounty.com. Winthrop will face off with Queens in the opener, followed by Bradley taking on St. Bonaventure. Then we head out to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, where it'll be presented by Sanford Sports, who is changing the way people play and making sports accessible and fun for all. Murray State gets Omaha at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, with Drake taking on Northern Arizona in the second game in Sioux Falls. Then it's back to Rock Hill for a showdown between Furman and High Point, with Merrimack taking on South Dakota State in Sioux Falls in the nightcap. Tickets for all 6 games are on sale now at the links in the description below. Field of 68 opening day.
Welcome back, everybody. Field of 68 is live from Atlantic 10 Media Day, and we are now joined by the new head coach, the St. Joe's Hawks, no stranger to Philadelphia. We know that it is Steve Donahue, who was named the coach of this program just 3 weeks ago after Coach Lang departs for an NBA position. And Coach Donahue, first off, it's great to see you here.
Thanks, Sean.
Secondly, to be standing here as the head coach of the St. Joseph's Hawks, this program with tradition. You obviously have played them a number of times in your career, but now to lead it into this new chapter. How would you describe the last 3 weeks of your life?
Yeah, it's even more crazy than that because I grew up a St. Joe's family, 4 of my siblings. I played for St. Joe's Guard in high school and was a disciple of Jack Ramsey. And to come full circle now where I was obviously prior to this and then be the head coach of this historic program. And it's really out of my wildest dreams, and I couldn't be more thrilled to be.
You got here in May, correct? You got the job as an assistant
did.
in May, and then 4 months later, you are the guy running the program. What has that kind of whirlwind been like?
You know what? It's I think the good part is when you're an assistant coach, you kind of sit with the guys after practice, and when you're an assistant, they let their guard down. They tell you what really is going on. I was able to, in my thoughts, really get to know the guys, not knowing that I'd be the head coach, and in their minds, even more importantly, not knowing I'd be the head coach. But it's an advantage for me because I do feel if I just came in September, brought a new staff in, this would be very hard. The sense of everything's the same, the processes are the same, everybody in the programs is the same, except one guy went out the door, and here I am to help them reach their potential and our team's potential.
You've been around college basketball for a long time. Have you ever experienced something like this, a coaching change at this point in the calendar?
No. In particular, my situation where I'm in the city where I'm at, this business is really difficult. It's to have jobs, stay in this business, the longevity I had, and then the situation at Penn, and then in a lot of ways land a better job 20 minutes closer to my home. So it saves on the commute. It's crazy. I get it. I get it all.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for it at the same time.
Only in college basketball does
Seriously.
stuff like this happen.
Right.
Only college hoops.
But, you think about this, and one of the things that comes to mind is, yes, for this program, Eric Reynolds had a terrific career, and Rasheer Fleming, Xavier Brown, those guys all did some very good things. But there's a lot back on this roster, too. There are certain pieces here. Derek Simpson comes to mind right off the bat.
Mount Laurel's finest right there.
Mount Laurel's finest. You've got Finkley. You've got Haskins Justice as well. You've got some different pieces here who know the program, who know what the identity of this league is. How much do you feel like, okay, yes, I get the situation is unique, Coach, no question about it, but you've got some guys who know what to expect when they get into these Atlantic 10 battles.
I agree with you. I think Billy and his staff have done an amazing job. We retain what you just mentioned, 4 of our top 7, which in this
hard to
league
do.
is hard. And then you have a guy like Kafik Myers, who's out redshirting. He's back. And then to put those 4 together and you bring in someone who was a rookie of the year in the league, the same league you're in, it at least gives you experience and what they know what to expect, and honestly help us build our program. I think we've done St. Joe's, prior to this, has done an incredible job in this environment of retaining players that really matter.
Deuce Jones is the guy that I kind of wanted to pick your brain on a little bit. The program saw him last year. He's seen St. Joe's. He's a Philly kid coming over from LaSalle. What have you seen out of him in practices? What did you see out of him over the summer? And is he someone? I'm not a St. Joe's fan, but like it's a local team. I live in Mount Laurel now, so I'm expecting and hoping to see big things out of him.
He is one of the most competitive day in and day out players I've ever coached. He has raised the level, from what I'm told, of how we practice, because that's what Billy thought would bring, and he has brought that. We're kind of pressing every possession right now. That's how he plays. The negative for all of us that are that aggressive is, where's the line? I use the expression, I want him to play with emotion, but he just can't be emotional. When he's doing those type of things, he's one of the best players in the conference, if not the country, because he's incredibly fast, athletic, scores in different ways, IQ, all the things you want. We just try to help coach him to stay in that mode of playing with energy, but under control at the same time.
Yeah, I have a vested interest in Derek Simpson. I was joking when I said Mount Laurel's finest, but I'm from the same town, or I'm living in the same town that he's from. My son will go to the high school that he went to, and I think now is a time with Xavier gone, with Eric gone, where there's kind of avoiding that backcourt that he can step into. Have you seen him kind of take the reins a little bit?
It is for sure. I think coming from Rutgers and then jumping in with the backcourt of your all-time leading scorer, and then Xavier Brown, who's obviously a great player. I thought he was caught just kind of filling in the spots, and
it's a tough spot to be.
Sometimes I feel like they got the ball a ton at the end of the shot clock. It's like a grenade going off. And Derek is, first of all, he's very analytical. I think he's going to be sitting in this chair someday. Honestly, I love how he looks at the game. I want him to play with confidence. Don't look over your shoulder. Be a leader. And he's shown that so far. I think you'll see his efficiency numbers go up at the rim from 3, assist to turnover, because he has that all in his game. And he's a very good athlete and a very good defender.
You're a guy that you talked a little bit about the different people that Jack Ramsey and the different people that have influenced your career, your journey. Philadelphia has no shortage of amazing figures. We talk about in life and in a coaching arc, you're at a place, you're in a situation for a reason. Your feet are where they are for a reason. I know it's a whirlwind, but when the ball gets tipped, the game start, and does it hit you? You're in a position where Coach Martelli had so many amazing teams, and there's been so much talent. And I just see the Hawk mascot. The Hawk will never die. Like, you've been such a part of Big Five history. The Palestra, I'm sure you have such an appreciation for that. Now being the coach at St. Joe's, how much do you feel like, you know what? It's meant to be. It's meant to be for me to be right here, right now.
I touched on it. I played for a guy named Bud Gardler, who was in the 60s a guard at St. Joe's. The JV coach when my freshman year was Phil Martelli. So we're all tied. And honestly, I've never said this to Phil, but Buddy and Phil, when I looked at them, that's what I wanted to do. I was blown away that I could possibly be one of them someday. I knew my level, talent-wise, was going to be such as a player, but the impact that those two had on me at a young age, and to your point, to think that I'm now in their shoes, literally, Phil's. I'm just a steward right now. I'll be the captain of the ship. This program has been led by great people. And I'm going to do my best to make all the alums and fans proud of St. Joe basketball.
Is it weird now that you were coached by Phil Martelli Sr., now you're going to be coaching against Martelli Jr.?
For sure.
Has to make you feel younger.
Well, that's the basketball world in general is 2 blocks long.
Yes.
In Philly, you can't.
Jeez.
It's one bedroom to the next. You're running into each other. Somehow we cross paths for sure.
One guy that we did not hit on is Jaden Glover Toscano. Can you tell that he came from Queens, that he's been in some intense practices and that now he can bring some of that to the table at St. Joseph's?
I put Al Amadou in the same boat because he was with Shaka for 2 years. And now you're getting 2 kids that kind of know what to expect every day, know what it's supposed to look like, understand the mental approach, the physicality, the endurance you need to play in college. And Jaden's been terrific. He's an elite defender, rebounder, standstill shooter. We're trying to help him gain some experience because he didn't play much as a freshman. How quickly he gains that experience and helps us win games. I think that's what he wants. Obviously, that's what we want.
The last thing I have for you is, I think that it is perhaps the most unique of the situation scheduling-wise in the sport that you will start the season and you don't know one of the games that you're going to play in.
Yeah, right.
And it's not an MT, it's the Big Five that I'm talking about, which is 6 teams with Drexel joining the equation. But every Big Five coach is probably going to have a different take on this. But we know the tradition of it, and I'm sure you have appreciation for it. What do you make of the current format where you have these 2 games and then you play a 3rd game downtown?
Well, everyone knows there's 6 Division I teams now.
Yep.
The Big Five. We added Drexel. I was in Boston, and we tried to do something like this, and 1,500 people showed up at the Garden for a triple header.
Yeah.
The Big Five is a big part of the sports fabric of Philadelphia. It matters. I think what's important that we did now with all the conferences getting so big, I think focusing on 2 games and a triple header at Wells Fargo, the crown of champion, is really the way to go. And I thought brought great spotlight again on the Big Five. St. Joe's is 2-time champion. We hang a banner in that arena. That's the goal again. And for the first time, we're not playing Villanova in the regular season. I'm sure there's a lot of Hawk fans and probably Wildcat fans that want the Holy War to meet a championship. But we're thrilled to be in that format. Yeah. And I love the Big Five. I do.
Coach, great to see you.
All right, John. Thank you.
There he is, Steve Donahue.
Always a pleasure, man.
Thank you.
Awesome stuff from the St. Joe's head coach, and the Hawks gearing up for a big year. They got some good returning talent. Got some intriguing pieces. They maybe have the most potential in this league when you think about some of the pieces that they've got.
There's talent there. There's quality guard play there. There's veterans in the backcourt. We kind of just touched on Al Amadou, but I think him and Jaden Glover are the 2 guys that really are. I mean, you kind of know what you're getting out of Derek Simpson. You kind of know what you're getting out of Deuce Jones, right? But you got these 2 players transferring in from the Big East that have that ceiling, that have a little bit more potential, that have experienced. I don't want to say coaching at a higher level, but competition at the highest level of the sport. I mean, it doesn't really get all that much bigger than Marquette, who won the Big East regular season and Big East tournament championship in 2023, and St. John's, who won the Big East regular season and tournament championship in 2025.
Yeah. No, who are you coached by? We talk about it in the portal all the time with our partner Terrence Oglesby, who I was checking YouTube
Where's
yesterday.
TL right now? What's he doing?
I was checking YouTube yesterday, so you're going to have to check some of the comments from our Big 12 preview show. Big 12 fans have taken awareness to Terrence's red face. And in the YouTube comments, I was looking last night, they are asking him, they are just pleading for him to put some sunscreen on. And there's one fan who really gave it to him.
Look, here's the problem.
Which now I want to do mean tweets with Terrence. Because I do think him reading these comments and then...
T.O., I love you, man. You're not built for mean tweets. You're not built for mean tweets.
Yeah, it's true.
He'll be, I got to find... Who is this guy? I got to find him. It's true. We got LaSalle making their way over here right now.
And we have a new era at LaSalle. We have Darris Nichols, the head coach of LaSalle. Come on in, Explorers, with Jerome Brewer as well for the Explorers, joining us here at Atlantic 10 Media Days live on the field of 68. Fellas, feel free to take a seat wherever. We appreciate you taking time. Coach, it's great to see you. Coach Nichols coming in from Radford, and it's great to have the Explorers in the house. Before we do anything, I think you guys have the best motto in the Atlantic 10, because when I was reading it, I instantly was like, yeah, this is going to work. Rebound that.
John.
Rebound that.
John.
How many times have you heard that?
A lot of times. Too many.
Yeah.
Where's it come from?
So, obviously I'm not from Philly, but I've recruited guys from the area, and you always hear them saying. And I was walking, I was coming from the grocery store, and I saw this lady. She had a T-shirt on that said Nurse John, and I was like, you know what? I said, my teams are always top in the country at rebounding the ball. Like, if you want your guys to really embrace something, you got to brand it as well, and that's who we've been. We've been one of the best rebounding teams, offense rebounding teams. We recruit to it. So I said, okay, let's involve a little Philadelphia slang in there. So then that's how we came up with it.
Jerome, grab the chain right over there, the necklace.
Oh, here we go.
Show them this. Talk to me about this.
Put it on, man.
Now that is awesome. That is awesome. So, okay, what was the process of getting this made? Staff member, hey, we got to get this done.
Director of marketing, Max, got it done. We got it. I think it was on Amazon. We got it or something. I don't know. We got it. It was a 2-day delivery. So,
does everyone have one?
Day.
Does everyone have one, or do you earn that?
No, everybody does a rebound.
Yeah.
Guys rebound.
You have to earn it.
Rebound the ball.
And we don't just give out turnover belts or chains when somebody.
That's what I was asking.
I mean,
so how do you earn that thing, Jerome?
This is just rebounding. You got to be effortless on the board. You just got to rebound each and every day, and we got a shirt rebound that joint, so you can get that or rock the chain.
So if he's wearing that right now, has he ever earned that thing in practice?
He's been rebounding at a high level lately. At first, we had to get on him a little bit, but
lately.
But Brew's a big time athlete, and I think the underrated part of his game could be attacking the offensive glass.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we tell our guys. Like, the best time to be selfish is on the glass. So, we don't want our guys to be selfish, but that's the area I want you to be selfish.
So you're from Camden,
New Jersey,
correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you are, for people that don't know, Camden is right across the river from Philadelphia.
Yes, sir.
You're basically coming back home for your last year of college, correct?
No, I got another year after
You got
this.
another year after this.
Yep.
So you're coming back home to play your junior season here at LaSalle. What does it mean to be back here in the Philadelphia area, to be back here at home? Your family's going to be able to come to see your games.
It means everything. Being back home, definitely playing in the A-10 at LaSalle University. They always recruited me coming out of high school, and coming here with Coach Darris. He had a great plan for me, and I was very excited. It's basically like a no-brainer, coming back home, and my family will be able to come to the games like that. I'm big on that, and just my family, and them just coming to the games, supporting me, and I'm just looking forward to it. And I know it's going to be a great season ahead at LaSalle University. Sure.
In Philadelphia, I mean, you got Red October coming up. The Eagles are coming off of a Super Bowl, right? You got the Sixers and Joel and Tyrese Maxey. The Flyers, maybe one day they'll actually be good again. I don't think it's ever going to happen. And there's 5 other Division I programs in the city for basketball alone, and that's to say nothing of Penn State and everyone that pays attention to that. How do you make LaSalle cut through all of that to be able to kind of be a program that is something that's more than just a footnote in the sports fabric?
I think the biggest thing is the product you put on the floor. A lot of people talk about wins and losses first, but I think me getting the job, I really wanted our teams to match the DNA of the city. And obviously I'm from Radford, Virginia. Our teams play really, really hard. But playing in the Big East, you run into those Philadelphia guards and running into guys from this area every time, but you knew what you was going up against. So, and
give the viewers a taste. I mean, when you were in the Big East, who were you going up against?
I mean, at that time you had Louisville in there, was
Syracuse, Georgetown,
Notre Dame was in there. Then I'm trying to think of the teams that left. That
right.
But I mean, it was a battle every night. The first team to 62 points won the game. So my thought process is the people of Philadelphia, the people of, especially North Philly, we gotta match that same kind of identity. And our teams have always done that. So I'm excited, to put the product on the floor.
Fanta, do you know who he played with at West Virginia?
I think I do.
Deshaun Butler. Did you know
Butler,
that the field of 68
You got some
after
stories
dark
about Deshaun Butler,
doesn't
I'm sure.
exist without Deshaun
Really?
Butler?
I didn't know that.
When we first started this,
We have Deshaun Butler's cousin on our team now.
do you?
Damon Strand.
Is he better than Deshaun? Because that's a low bar to clear. That's a low bar to clear.
Deshaun was a goon, man.
We used to have a podcast called Dauster, Deshaun, and Fanta.
Yeah,
that's a true story.
Deshaun Butler. I mean,
I didn't know that.
And he was so good at it that he decided to get into coaching.
Deshaun Butler on the floor, Madison Square Garden, Big East tournament, West Virginia. I mean, there's some. I know how much you had to enjoy your time. You being in Pittsburgh, the Mountaineers get the best of the Panthers, right? Pittsburgh's another former Big East team, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about the Jadens, okay? Jaden Johnson, Jaden Marshall. I'm going to get your thoughts on somebody, but when you think about these guys as well as Grullen, as well on your perimeter, what do you make of where your guard play can be?
Our guard play and the way we recruit to what's important to us. So fouls drawn, we was 20th in the country at, getting to the free throw line. So you look at, Jaden Johnson's numbers, especially as a freshman, played 35 minutes, a game. I think he finished with 135 assists. A guy that can really find open teammates. And you look at Jay Marsh, Jay Marsh did a really good job in Niagara in limited minutes of getting to the free throw line and shooting a high percentage from three. So a lot of times people look at, points per game and say, okay, well, this isn't great, but what are they nationally ranked at?
Is that as simple as you're looking at tape of guys, but you're pulling right up fouls drawn and seeing?
For sure. Because you think about,
but we don't hear coaches always say that as the first thing that they're looking at.
And you think about it as, we like to wear teams out. We like to play a lot of guys. And when you draw a lot of fouls, what does that do? The refs even the game out.
Yeah.
So now they get their guys in foul trouble, and we're trying to wear teams down. But, that's a really important stat to us, because when you're in the game and you go on the scoring drought, if you're in the bonus, at least you can rack up points at that free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big stat for us.
So, Jerome, I was texting with one of your assistants, Safet, and I was asking him just who do we need to talk about, and all he said, or who do we need to ask these guys about, and all he said was Rob Dockery, stud. Talk to me about Rob. Talk to me about what you've seen out of him. He was at Texas A&M for a couple of years, transferred, was a red shirt.
Yeah, Rob Doc, he like you said, he a stud, man. He could do a lot on the floor. He rebounded well. He pushed the ball well in transition. He got a lot of things in his game that's going to help us this year at LaSalle. So he a leader as well. Like sometimes we got to talk to him, get him started here and there. But I feel like he's going to be a great piece for us this year at LaSalle, and I'm excited for him. Excited for all the guys.
How about Josiah Harris?
Josiah Harris, my guy right there.
Did you see his face light up?
He wears that. You guys go back and forth with the
we
chain.
go back and forth for sure. He's an exciting piece for us as well. He bring the injury each and every day. He hold guys accountable. He just do the little things that a lot of people just not willing to do on the glass, just overall playing basketball at LaSalle. And like I said, I'm excited for him as well. I'm excited for all the guys, and I just know if he keep doing what he's been doing lately, it's going to be an exciting year for him.
Yeah. So we mentioned Deshaun. He's not the only big name that was kind of in that locker room when you were at West Virginia. John Beilein was the coach when you got there. Bob Huggins was the coach when you left. You were teammates with Joe Mazzulla, who head coach of the Celtics now, and Mike Gansey, who is GM of the Cavs.
Yep. Cleveland Cavaliers. Very good
He's
friend
a
of mine.
Cleveland fan over
Sorry,
here.
Wes.
There's I'm not afraid to say this, a generational level of basketball IQ that was in that locker room when you were at West Virginia. What did you take away from that experience?
The biggest thing I took away is that, Beilein recruited guys with high basketball IQ. Like, that was a big thing for him. But the biggest thing, and I try to tell my guys, like, we were good because we were close and we connected. Like, those teams were the most connected teams I've ever been around. And a lot of times we weren't the most talented. But you look at us now and the success, like, we were good players, but we were better teammates. So that's why you see the success that we're having, after the ball stopped bouncing. But we're still in a group chat to this day. We communicate. So that's how close we were. We still talk to this day. So it's no surprise why guys that, I play with are having the success they're having.
What was the craziest terminology thing that John be like? Because he calls some things
Yeah. I would say the craziest was peekaboo. Our backdoor cuts were called peekaboo or gotcha. And we would say, hey, let's run a got you, like if it's a bad defender. And we just say got you, like as soon as we get them. So, you know, a lot of people didn't really realize, like, you know, Beeline would talk trash too. So, you know, some of his play calls were going at bad defenders.
I got one for you. The first college basketball game I ever attended, you appeared in. March 19th,
I see it right there.
2005. It is the Albuquerque Regional in Cleveland, Ohio, at the Wolstein Center with the old Viking at center court. Iron Eagle called the game. Double overtime game.
Mm-hmm.
Wake Forest had one. Chris Paul.
Oh, for sure.
They had Chris Paul. But West Virginia had Mike Gansey and one Kevin Pittsnoggle.
Yeah.
Final score 111 to 105. The game,
a lot of points,
the game was in
Coach.
double overtime. And here's my memory, because I was 9 years old. I was 9 years old. I looked around at the end of the game when it was in double OT. I don't know if it was a game it was a Saturday night, I want to say.
Okay.
And the game went so long, it started late. There were people asleep in the stands. There were people. Was that as wild a game as you've ever been a part of? That was insane.
For sure. It was crazy. And, you know, I was a freshman. So I'm sitting over there, and obviously going to 3 overtimes, like guys start getting in foul trouble. So I'm sitting over there for most of the game. And, you know, he's sitting on the bench. I tell guys, you over there trying to get loose, like, you know, coach is going to call my name. And I'm watching Chris Paul come down the floor like 1,000 miles per hour. And I'm like, ain't no way I can go in there to stiff sitting over here for all these minutes and, you know, pick him up at half court, slow him down. And, you know, he ended up getting in foul trouble, fouling out. And so I didn't have to guard him that long. So we were good.
So we talked a little bit about Jerome coming home. Your last job was home for me, right? You're from Radford.
Right.
You were head coach at Radford, and you decided that LaSalle was the spot that you were going to leave home for. Why?
I think the biggest thing for me was I feel like, you know, Radford is home, but I've been so many places. Like sometimes home is where the ball bounces. And just when I went through the interview process and meeting, you know, the admin, meeting, you know, Ash Puri, our athletic director, meeting Dan Allen, our president, I felt like, okay, a lot of people say, well, LaSalle's a hard job. It's this, it's that. I think that you win with people, and those two have a great vision for where they want not only basketball, but the school and athletics to go. So I felt an alignment with those two. So to me, it was a no-brainer. I didn't need to see campus. I want the job.
Rapid fire to close here. 30 seconds. 3 artists on your pregame playlist.
3 artists. I got G Herbo, Core, that's a Philly artist, and Meek.
When you were playing, the 3 artists on your pregame playlist.
You got Jeezy. You got Jay-Z. And then hold on. Let me think.
Talk to me.
Let me think.
Talk
Give me
to
time, bro. I got to go back.
We're getting old, man.
I know. It was a whole bunch of Jeezy.
You remember what you were listening to? 05, 06?
A lot of Jeezy.
You know about that Nas?
Nah, I wasn't Nas on there. Jay-Z won the battle. I would go 2 Chainz.
2
Chainz. He wasn't 2 Chainz then, though.
He's
Titty Boy now.
That's what I'm talking about.
Did you know he played basketball in college?
Oh, yeah.
They played at Alabama State.
He was good, too.
Yeah.
The other one I like to ask, who would play you in a movie or show?
Who would play me?
Yeah.
Not sure. Tough one. I don't know.
Coach?
Not sure.
Shoot for stars. I'm going Denzel.
That's how we're closing it out right there. That's how we're closing it out right there. Darris, Nichols, and Jerome Brewer, we are excited for a new era of LaSalle Explorers basketball. Fellas, thank you. Good luck this season.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Love it. Love it. That is great stuff from LaSalle. We had great stuff all morning. Folks, we have a huge afternoon for you. We're just getting started. We still have 5 more schools. We've got Dayton to start things out. We're going to come back on the air with you at 2 Eastern time. So we'll be on 2 to 3:15. We've got Anthony Grant, Javon Bennett, and Dayton. We've got Duquesne. We've got George Mason, George Washington, St. Bonaventure as well on the horizon this afternoon. We'll take a quick time out here. This is Atlantic 10 Media Day on the field of 68. Don't go anywhere.
The college basketball season will begin right here on the field of 68. At 8 a.m. on November 3rd, we will be tipping off the inaugural Field of 68 opening day marathon. 15 hours of nonstop basketball. It will begin in Rock Hill, presented by our friends at Visit York County. Plan your itinerary today at visityorkcounty.com. Winthrop will face off with Queens in the opener, followed by Bradley taking on St. Bonaventure. Then we head out to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, where it'll be presented by Sanford Sports, who is changing the way people play and making sports accessible and fun for all. Murray State gets Omaha at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, with Drake taking on Northern Arizona in the second game in Sioux Falls. Then it's back to Rock Hill for a showdown between Furman and High Point, with Merrimack taking on South Dakota State in Sioux Falls in the nightcap. Tickets for all 6 games are on sale now at the links in the description below. Field of 68, opening day. Do you need your fix of college basketball analysis at the end of every night during the season? If you crave instant reactions and informed breakdowns, make sure you tune into the Field of 68 After Dark every night, with access to the biggest stars in the sport and a cast of characters that includes the likes of Tyler Hansborough, Randolph Childress, John Fanta, John Henson, Terrence Oglesby, Jarrell McNeil, and many, many more. The Field of 68 After Dark is where college basketball happens. There is no sport in America that is more difficult to follow than college basketball. It can be overwhelming. That's where the Field of 68 Daily comes into play. The Daily is your go-to source for injury updates, recruiting news, and transfer portal additions that actually matter. For just $50 a year, get access to the same information that your favorite team's coaching staff is subscribed for. Quality content can be hard to find in the college basketball space. The Daily is here to help you with that.
Athlete AI is the story of the athlete. And every athlete deserves to have his story told. Under the lights and in the spotlight, this is your moment, your room. Download, capture, create, share. Athlete AI. Your name is trending.
As we welcome all of you back to Atlantic 10 Media Day here on the Field of 68, and it is wonderful for us to be joined by the 2025 Naismith Men's College Official of the Year. He is supervisor of Atlantic 10 Conference Men's Basketball Officiating, Brian Kersey. When you get that honor, you can now direct all email complaints, all text messages to you. That's
Coaches are no longer able to call, though. Coaches can no longer call.
Brian, thanks for taking some time.
Absolutely.
For those at home, Brian sat down and he goes, I don't know why you're talking to me. We said we want to talk some basketball.
We got questions.
Because,
we got questions.
Yeah, so the biggest thing out of the gates is now coaches have the ability to challenge. But it's not just the ability. It also is going to it's going to help the game in a lot of ways.
Agree.
Take us through what went into this and how it's going to help the game.
I think it's going to speed the game up.
Yep.
Number one, it's going to stop our referees from using a crutch for a replay on out of bounds. But then again, it's going to require a coach to keep a timeout. So we're hoping they keep the timeouts. You know, it's restricted area plays, basket interference, goaltending, out of bounds plays. We cannot, throughout the whole game, go look at an out of bounds play. So there's going to be games won and lost on out of bounds plays if a coach doesn't have a challenge. So we can look at basket interference, goaltending the last 2 minutes at any time, but we can't look at out of bounds plays. So I mean, it's going to have its blips. They need to have a really, really good video guy, which I've told all the coaches, you know, walking around here today, to have a really good video guy and make sure that they can have really good internet service, because it's you know, you don't have a lot of time. You know, it's going to slow our referees down, which I think will help them, because I think all referees need to slow the game down anyway to work the game. So we'll see where it goes. I would think it would expand. I don't know if we'll ever get to fouls. We might get to proximity fouls,
Right.
like on rebounds where the ball gets shot out of bounds. We may get to that in a couple of years, but I think the rules committee did a great job getting this. I think it's what the coaches want. I don't think all of the coaches fully understand it, but I think they will. As once we get through November, halfway through December, I think they'll have a good hold of it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're not going to really know how it works until you've
Correct.
experienced how it
100%,
works.
until
Can
we
you
get
just
into it.
kind of take fans through what that process will look like for how like there's a call that goes out of bounds. Is it like baseball where you hold up your hand and say, we're going to look at the replay and then do this?
I think that's what they're going to do. I think that's what they're going to start doing it. And then I think eventually they'll just turn, because we're not going to, you're not going to see us wiping the floor up. You're not going to see us making sure wiping the ball off.
Mhm.
You're going to see us look over there, and then they've got to call a timeout. They have to have a timeout, and then they can request it before we administer a timeout. So it's going to be a little bit of lag time. I think it'll, especially the last 2 minutes, I think it'll speed up because out of bounds plays. But again, you have a team that runs through their timeouts. Like, remember Pete Gillen?
Mm-hmm.
Pete Gillen could have never done this because he called all his timeouts, with 10 minutes left in the game.
Right.
But, I think it gives the coaches a little bit of leverage, makes them keep their timeout, and puts a lot of pressure on a video guy.
Yeah, I think it also is very good for the end of games, right?
Agreed.
Because the worst part about it was you get this fantastic game and there's 45 seconds left and it's back and forth, and then every single possession, every time a ball goes out of bounds, it's all right.
Takes
We're
an hour.
gonna go and look at it, and it ends up it kind of takes the drama and the rhythm out of the game. And I think that
100%.
bringing that, if it means that. Look, you guys probably get 95% of the calls right,
Correct.
and if it means that 5% of them end up being wrong and have to get reviewed, and then maybe 10% of those can't get reviewed because the coach doesn't have a timeout, I'm willing to live with that.
Correct.
To make the game
and
better.
I think that's where we're at because, last year in a lot of the conference tournaments, or not a lot of them, a few of the conference tournament games in different leagues, like one game had a semifinal game, had 2 out of bounds plays in the last 30 seconds
Mm-hmm.
that they reviewed and overturned. So if a coach can save, and they both went against the same team. So if the coach can save his timeout, then he gets those 2, because if he's right, he gets a second one. If he's wrong, he
Right.
loses.
That's the big thing.
So, they just got to save them. There's no need to look at I tell them, why are you going to look at a basket interference 10 minutes left in the first half?
Right.
And you still got to have a whistle on it. So we're either calling it or not calling it. So, I mean, it's going to have some, there's so many good games early that's going to test this, first week of the season. The games in Rock Hill are hard. The games starting on Tuesday, hard. There's so many teams playing bigger schedules that it's going to test this thing early.
That's why we had him. This is a great promotional opportunity. The Field 68 opening day tip off.
Opening day tip off. 8 o'clock in the morning.
8 a.m.
He did the promo for you.
Sitting right there.
Yeah,
I need a
can't
good seat
wait.
now. I need a good seat.
Yeah,
Don't put me on
whatever
row-
you need.
Goodman
row
had you in the
25.
nosebleeds,
Yeah,
but we'll
but look,
push you.
you talk to us. We got all the polls.
Goodman's got me in standing room only up top, right?
Just wait until there's a challenge at the end of that first
Exactly
game,
right.
and
Yeah.
Goodman
He's gonna be
has to be
coming
the
up to
one
you.
that has to
Exactly
explain
right.
it. Well,
Yeah.
I think it's
He will not know how to
That's
explain
what I'm
it.
going to say to him. I'm going to say to him. You put
Someone
me
go
in your
get Brian
seat.
Kersey from the
Yeah.
standing room
I'm
only.
over
Bring
here,
him down here.
over here with the
He could be our
cornholers.
Gene
You got me in the
Steratore.
cornhole room. And now
Be our Terry McCulley.
there really is a cornhole room.
Is there?
There really is a cornhole headquarters.
You're going to be in
Rock
there.
Hill.
We're
That's
going
where
to put you with a
Goodman's gonna have
microphone.
me sit. Jeff, don't put me in there.
Now, I got 2 for you. One, on this, obviously the rules committee comes together. Because you get the majority of these out of bounds, I know that there's some difficult out of bounds. Sometimes you go to a replay, right, and it's bang, bang. It's hard
Correct.
to even see on the
Correct.
replay.
Correct.
Was it taken into account of like, all right, we're taking an hour, and the percentage of times that we actually are correct or it's going to be upheld, that's what led us to being comfortable with this.
Correct. 100%. 100%. And the coaches wanted something. They wanted something.
You
They
listened to their voices.
Correct. There's no referees on the rules committee, administrators, coaches. So we have a coordinator and a referee that give input. But when it comes to voting, it's the coaches and the administrators. So that's why I say they did a great job, because now it's give and take. It stops us from, I've said for the last 3 years, we use this as a crutch.
Right.
It makes us better referees now, because all of our teachings and trainings now on positioning for out of bounds plays, less experienced officials coming in and helping on out of bounds plays if you have information. It's got to now become, don't worry that Roger Ayers is standing on the baseline. If you think he's wrong, come in and change him.
Right.
So, I mean, we had 3 days in Atlanta, but that's what we preached at him. And it worked.
Roger, you're normally right, by the way.
Exactly.
We know
He
Roger's
is.
out there
He is.
watching. I get his inspirational quotes and different
He's
scripture.
tremendous.
Now, let me ask you this. One of the big things during college football season has been the ACC and their transparency in this replay center.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there's a pathway for perhaps even more transparency in basketball where fans can hear in real time what an official is looking at?
Well, I think that's going to depend on whether or not collaborative replay ever comes in. And like the SEC has collaborative replay now, and they do it, and they do a tremendous job. They have Mike Eads and his staff do a great job. I think if we ever went to that, I would think commissioners would be there. But is that league going to do it, or is the A10 going to do it, or is the Big South? It just depends on who wants to put it in place. And I think, I think we would be extremely transparent with it. And I think it does a lot of good for the fans to see how we go about it. But again, that's way above what my thought, what I do.
I think the biggest question a lot of people have when it comes to the way officiating works in the college game is the guys that end up having 6 games and 6 nights and 6 different locations. Is there a way to be able to maybe reduce a little bit of the workload? And I mean, you've done this for long enough. Does it get to a point where you feel like, okay, I've been on the road this much, maybe I'm a little tired, maybe I'm not feeling my best?
Well, I mean, with the way things are set up now and the way that myself, we have an alliance with 11 leagues, myself, John Cal, Dwayne Glad, Mike Stevens, Jack Sweeney, all do it. We can send somebody to Philadelphia and they can stay for a week. The way my relationship is with Mike Eads from the SEC and his leagues, we can send somebody to Georgia for a week. The way my relationship is with John Higgins in the Big 12, we can send somebody to California for a week. So they can stay in the same hotel, work the games. I think that, our rosters are getting deeper than we've ever been, a lot deeper than when I was on the floor. And I think we're getting some referees now that are ready, that got opportunities in the last couple of years that are going to get some more this year, and that'll help that tremendously.
Brian, we appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the Naismith honor.
Appreciate that.
And thanks for the clarity. And our crew, some of our crew will see you down in
If
Charlotte
you
for
need anything,
ACC.
please reach out anytime.
We
Thank you.
appreciate Brian Kersey. There he
Thank you,
is,
sir.
Coordinator of officials here at the Atlantic 10. That does it for our first chapter of Atlantic 10 Media Day. Act 2 is coming up this afternoon. We'll start at 2 o'clock with the Dayton Flyers, Anthony Grant, Siobhan Bennett. You'll also hear from Duquesne. You'll hear from George Mason. You'll hear from George Washington, our dark horse, and one of Rob Dauster's sleepers, St. Bonaventure.
The Bonnies, baby.
Mark Schmidt. I'm sure he'll have a joke about his age. He's going to be the last person to go, but we potentially will say
he
the
just got
funniest.
off like a 3.5 week long vacation. That man better be happy. That's all I'm going to say.
We'll see you at 2 o'clock. Be here at 2 sharp for 5 more teams here on Atlantic 10 Media Days as our circuit of media days. There's no better network, there's no better place than the Field of 68 for all of your October coverage. So while you're on your lunch break, just go to our YouTube channel because we have a Big 12 preview on there. You had a media day yesterday,
Missouri Valley Media Day yesterday.
and we got more cooking. So there's some lunchtime content. See you at 2 o'clock for now.